What's up, everybody? Welcome to GameFace, episode 440 on SIFTD Games at SIFTD.net. And people, not only are we live on YouTube today, so this is 2 weeks in a row that we got the show going live on YouTube, we also have YouTube's chat in the show today. And alongside me to discuss it with all you fine people on YouTube is Matt Keil. What's up, Matt?
Hello.
We're taking baby steps here with the stream. Every week we add one little wrinkle, one little new thing. We're slowly, getting to the things I had talked about when we launched this year. Maybe not going as fast as I had hoped, but we're getting there. As I say, whatever I say, I eventually deliver it. It may take a while, but I keep my promises as best that I can. So we do have YouTube chat hooked up today. In the show, and we're going to go to our chat here in a second. I do have a feeling that I may have to adjust something on the fly. We'll see how it goes. The way that Twitch and YouTube handle chat are different, and I'll just be honest with you, I think I made a mistake when I accounted for getting YouTube into the show. I didn't realize, I forgot that it works differently. So we'll see how it goes when we finally throw to chat. But what's up, YouTube people? In fact, I need to put on my reading glasses, because the other thing, too, is that like YouTube's chat doesn't scale like Twitch's does. So for us, the font's really small on our screen, whereas Twitch's chat scales to the size, so the text gets a little bit bigger. But we see you. Let's see, there's Jim over there. What's up, guys? First time watching live. This is only the second week that we've done it on YouTube, so you're actually doing pretty good if you found it in our second week. Who else we got there? Francis Alex on YouTube. What's up? Ian McGar there on YouTube.
Glad I got new glasses.
What'd you say?
I'm glad I got new glasses.
Did you get new glasses?
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to read the YouTube chat from here without them.
Oh, really? My readers are still okay. I haven't had to graduate to the next level of readers yet.
These are progressives now.
Oh, really?
So if I do this, I see far away. If I do this, I can read.
Oh, really? So you have to like kick your head back for the real magnification?
You have to point your nose at what you're looking at, what you want to look at, which is weird because turns out I use my eyes a lot to look around, partly situational awareness, and now if I do that, it's just blurry.
Oh, really?
Actually, the weirdest thing to use these for is the grocery store, because the top of the shelf is in focus and the bottom is blurry.
That's funny.
That's really the only place I really notice it.
Since I started using readers, I get these weird like anomalies in my peripheral vision where I think my brain is like, something's there. And I'll look and it's just this weird shadow that sometimes like these readers project onto my eye. It'll freak me out. And I'm like, oh, it's just these stupid glasses again. I hate it. I'm actually looking into getting contacts.
Contacts, I mean, if your eyes can take them for long periods of time, they are better.
But I would only do it for
I'm lazy,
the show.
So I tend to just put glasses on and go.
Hanging out at home, I would just wear the readers. But like doing this show, I've found that like once every 5 or 6 times we do this show, I go home with a headache. And I don't know what it is. Maybe the readers like focusing at all these different distances. I don't know. But it only started happening once I started getting readers.
My low yield sonic weapons. I'm doing it.
That's what it is.
My contacts now, the right eye is distance and the left eye is mid to close.
Oh.
So it's a mix. It's like the equivalent. So you have to your brain has to learn to mix the two visuals, which results in this side I have worse vision on, and it's a very weird experience.
Interesting. That's kind of crazy.
But it works. It's a little clearer than these because there's no change.
Right.
It's more mental. Getting old sucks.
It does. There's nothing good about it at all, Matt. I don't like anything about it.
I mean, it beats the alternative.
Right.
But,
I mean, look, I have a lot of friends who have died young, so I appreciate every day that I wake up and I'm still breathing, but getting old still sucks. There's no denying it. It's like my sister-in-law said this week on a text thread. She was like, I don't know if like when I wake up, if the pain that I'm feeling is something that's going to be permanent, or if it's something that's just there for 10 minutes and then it's going to disappear. And that's what getting old is like in a freaking nutshell. It sucks. Because my brain, I'm still 20-something. I think I can just do all the stuff I always did. And for the most part I do, you just pay for it afterwards. Like, stuff I used to do and just run around and ride my bike and stuff and come home and then DJ. Now I need a break when I come home from doing that stuff. It sucks. If you're not there yet, you have something to look forward to. Well, anyway, welcome to GameFace. This is a podcast about video games. We're here for a few hours here every Tuesday at twitch.tv/SIFTDGames and at youtube.com/SIFTDGames. We're good for YouTube. We're going to be dual streaming on Twitch and YouTube from now until infinity. We got everything set up. I think everything's okay. We'll see if everything works exactly the way it's supposed to. You never know until you start throwing the things on the TriCaster here. But anyway, between Matt and I, we have over 50 years of experience covering video games professionally. You can take that for what it's worth. There are 13-year-olds who think we don't know anything. There are people our age who respect our knowledge and appreciate how we add context to our discussions. Hopefully you're in the latter team. In fact,
I don't take that from anybody who's younger than some of the shrink wrap on some of the games I've never played.
That's a good one that I've never played.
Yeah. Well, they're in the shrink wrap.
Yeah, yep. A couple things before we get going into the show proper, and we'll go to you guys here in a minute. And thank you guys for Twitch Prime. I see a bunch of that's rolling in over on our Twitch chat. First up, Patreon update. So I got a little bit of a curveball over the last couple of days. Obviously, I've been talking about how we are increasing our monthly rate from $4 to $5 beginning July 1st. Well, as it turns out, you can't just do that on Patreon. They don't trust the patron or the people who are running the Patreon to message it to their fans. They think that they're just going to just drop it on you guys. So what they do to protect you guys is once I made a change on our Patreon, there's a 31-day window where Patreon tells you guys, hey, this thing is going up $1. I wish Patreon had said that in all the literature that it has out explaining tier price increases. It did not explain that.
I guess that you'd need that to make sure that like some wacko dude doesn't just like change the $5 one to $500
like the night before, and everybody gets charged.
And then vanish.
I totally understand why it's there. I just wish Patreon would have told me so I could have planned for it and actually put the change in 31 days ago.
I'm sure that's like common knowledge among like people who like run Patreons, but like I don't see how you would know that unless you were like hanging out with a bunch of other Patreon account runners.
I mean, I researched the crap out of it before I did it, obviously, and nowhere. Also, AI, by the way, didn't mention that. Just another way that you can get burned relying on AI. Like
everything AI says is wrong.
It really is. There's some shade of incorrect in pretty much everything AI does. Mm-hmm. That's just the truth. You have to basically look at your work again anyway. It's like, why even use AI?
Especially with like specialized subject, like, you know, anytime I do, because I do Google search stuff like pretty often, and it's just like, you know, I always get this stupid little Gemini bullshit up at the top, and it's like, if I'm looking for Transformer stuff or video game stuff or whatever, it's always wrong. It's always
wrong.
And like, there's no indication that it's wrong except that I know it's wrong because I know that
you just
information.
Know, you have the knowledge, yeah.
But like, same with comic, like you look up comic book stuff and it will just make up issue numbers for things. And you're like, if that's the first thing you read and you just take it, you're going to be wrong every time.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's how professors buzz people using AI.
Well, I mean, meanwhile, apparently we want these things to diagnose skin cancer.
Right.
I'm like, they don't even know what issue Phoenix died in. I don't care. I don't want them diagnosing skin cancer.
Yeah, well, this was the case where AI failed me as well. So anyway, if you're a patron of ours at patreon.com/SIFTD, and it would be awesome if you're not there, if you would go over there. That'd be really cool. You have a month of grace period where you're only going to spend $4, and then on August 1st, they'll finally shift over to $5 for the SIFTD All Access tier where you're getting all our content day and date. So anyway, if you're one of our patrons, you just got a month reprieve from the huge $1 price increase. I understand why Patreon does it to protect you guys. I totally get it. I just wish it had messaged it a little better, and there's a way to find that information a little bit easier. So anyway, just a little bit of an issue with how we're adjusting our prices. Also, on Friday, it is July 4th here in America, Independence Day, which has a whole new meaning now, Matt, because Independence Day is all about us, like, breaking away from a king. And here we are. We've just come full circle. It took us 200 and some years to just get right back to where we were before.
250 years. We had a good run.
Yep. So anyway, we will be dark on Friday, so the site will not be updating. There will not be an episode of Pactor Factor Live on Friday because Pactor is going out of town to do have a little fun on the July 4th weekend. It's nice that we get July 4th on a Friday, so we actually get like a 3-day weekend. So anyway,
and by fun we mean bourbon.
Pretty much, Scotch. Actually, he travels a lot. People don't realize it, but he goes on lots of vacations with the family. But anyway, so that's happening on Friday, and then finally, there's a Bandai Namco Direct coming on Wednesday at noon Pacific. So tomorrow at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and it's pretty much just like Capcom's thing last week. It's the replacement for Bandai Namco's E3 press conference that it doesn't do anymore because E3 no longer exists. So anyway, that's happening tomorrow. It looked like in the press release they sent me, they had a rundown of like 8 games that they're showing. So they're showing a good bit. They're also showing a game that we talked about last week here on the show called The Blood of Dawnwalker. So hopefully we get some new information on that. Obviously, both Matt and I are pretty excited for that game. So keep that in mind for tomorrow. That'll be up on Sifted at sifted.net. We take care of you guys. You don't have to worry about stuff like looking for this stuff. It's just there, right where you want it. Tag to the top of your Sift. Use Sifted. I know you're trained yourself to use YouTube or whatever you're using. If you're a gamer over the age of 30, you should be using Sifted. If you're tired of dealing with the morons on YouTube, you should be using Sifted. So anyway, head on over to sifted.net. We take care of you guys. It is a community full of adult gamers. You don't have to deal with fanboy nonsense or any other crap. It's just people talking about games who really love games. And if you're at this age and you still love games, you really love games. I mean, that's just the way it is. I know so many people that I knew in my 20s that were as into games as I am or was, and they don't play games at all anymore. So you have to have that passion. If you have that passion, head on over to sifted.net. It's a home for you, I promise you. And I think that's it for our housekeeping. And now it's time to see if the chat that I've set up worked. Here we go. No.
No.
It did it. What the hell? Where did it go?
It's hiding.
Well, that's weird.
You take network again?
Yeah, the network just dropped, it looks like. Which is weird. That's never really happened before. But this should fix it. Yep. There it is. Awesome. So there we go. And actually, Matt, we can see better on the preview screen than we can on the computer screen now.
Yeah, that is better.
So we'll just start using that instead. Wow, that's awesome to see our YouTube chat full of people.
Yeah, I actually wish Twitch scaled more like the YouTube one because we could see more lines of it.
Yeah. But I worked on this for a couple of days trying to get both chats working. And then we also have to change, and you'll see later on in the show, the graphics for Name That Game Tune. Because we need to be able to basically work with what we have set up before the show starts and then have it work on Name That Game Tune. Wait, what just happened here?
Ryoga Hibiki sent five game gift
memberships. Thank you. That's freaking awesome. Did somebody just give us $10?
MB gave you $10.
Wow. Thank you, guys. This is great. This is the big reason why we were working hard to get YouTube back on here. Because also the other part of it is technically our biggest community is on YouTube. We have, tens of thousands of subscribers. We have like 3,000 on Twitch. So our audience is bigger on YouTube.
I mean, that's pretty much how it goes these days.
Yeah. But
outside of the really big Twitch stuff.
Yeah. But we've kind of trained people to use Twitch for our show at this point. So we get more people on Twitch for right now anyway. But that could change. Like, it could change quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I watch YouTube all the time, and I never have Twitch on.
I prefer to watch YouTube streams over Twitch streams. I feel like the quality is just generally better.
I switched over to YouTube. I default to Twitch for things like Evo and
sure. Yeah,
and CEO.
Me too.
But I switched to YouTube a couple times during CEO just because it was more reliable.
Yeah,
and
it's just steadier,
and it wasn't throwing ads at me every 5 minutes.
Tyler, $10 with YouTube greater than Twitch. Thank you, man. Thanks to everybody who's hooking us up with this stuff. This is great. Actually, let's scroll up because one thing that we can't get from YouTube is Twitch Prime. So let's scroll up and make sure that we thank everybody. There's all kinds of stuff been going on our Twitch stream as well. This is going to take us a little bit to learn how to juggle both of these at the same time and make sure we're keeping an eye on this. Henrik Richard Solberg, wait a minute.
That's Noke. I don't know what that is. Norway Kroner, I think, is what that is.
Okay. At first, I thought he gave us $100. I was about to jump on the table and do a striptease.
No, I don't know what that works out to.
It doesn't matter, Henrik. Even if it's $1. Thank you, man. We really, really appreciate that. That's really awesome.
I'm guessing like $10.
Yeah, that's great, man. Thank you. That's awesome.
If I remember my conversion rate for Sweden.
Oh, okay. Look, we're having our affiliate anniversary on Twitch at the same time, which is odd. I didn't even know that was a thing, but it is apparently. Don Lionheart, thank you for Twitch Prime. Everyone was wishing us a happy anniversary. Zero Charisma, thank you for Twitch Prime. Who else we got in here? Cinetike, thank you for Twitch Prime. He's here every week. You're an awesome supporter. Thank you. Happy Canada Day. I did not know it was Canada Day. And we got horrible news for Canada yesterday. We're going to talk about in the lightning round today. Glottis21, thank you for Twitch Prime. Lynn Jeff 99, thank you, man. I hope you're doing good. Emperor Dread, thank you. What else we got here? Cyber Eric Gaming. Patreon is weird at times. It is. Yes. I'm not a fan of Patreon. I really feel like they're just ripping us off. To me, they're just basically a credit card processor that's charging me double the rate of a normal credit card processor.
That's basically what it is.
If I could get all you guys off of Patreon, if I knew you guys would leave Patreon to come back to SIFTD for our on-site subscription system, I would roll it all back and go right back to the way it was when we started. Because we're losing such a big cut of money from Patreon, and it doesn't do anything.
Patreon's just how it's done.
Yeah, it is, and people are just used to going there, and so that's why we're there. But I really wish that we could just go back to our old subscription system on SIFTD. But
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I'm the same way. I like everything's in that one account on Patreon, and I can manage it easier.
Yeah.
And someone wants me to sign up separate. I was like, nah.
I understand
like,
it. Yeah, I get it. So
it's
anyway,
it's just inertia. There's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah, maybe someday.
Until someone derails Patreon.
Until Patreon shuts down, and then I'm going to make you guys go back to SIFTD.
Well, no, and then it'll be on whatever the next
whatever pops up to take its
Patreon.
place. Yeah. What else we got here in our Twitch chat? Swan Senpai. And I realized what a massive deal. What was Bandai was until I went to Japan. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like it used to be the arcades. They were all built and run by Bandai, and a lot of the pachinko parlors.
I mean, the Gundam is what kind of put them on the map. Is like they were the ones who made the kits, and that's what made Gundam a massive sensation. And that's why that's why you got life-size Gundams walking around in some of those places. Like that's all Bandai. That's why they could afford to buy Namco.
Yeah, it's true. Fire Native says Bandai absorbed Namco years ago because we always thought Namco was the bigger company. At least I did from here in the U.S. I always thought Namco was because they had made the better games.
Well, they had Pac-Man. Arcade-wise, they were big, but like if you knew anything about anime, Bandai was the king of the hill.
Yeah. What else we got here in Twitch chat? I saw Twitch people saying hello to our YouTube people, which is kind of cool. And I think Cinetite called it stereo chat.
Mike's Q did.
Yeah, that's funny. Stereoscopic chat, Mike's Q. Yeah.
Because he's in both
Striptease, SIFTD OnlyFans. If you give me $100 tip, maybe I'll take my shirt off. That's as far as I'll go. Look, he's back here on Twitch Prime. Ryoga Hibiki came over to Twitch and dropped us his Twitch Prime subscription, or her, actually. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. Yeah, Thank you.
Ryoga's a guy in Ranma, so you don't know. Who knows?
We'll assume.
But also has no sense of direction. So the fact that Ryoga's in two separate chats is actually very appropriate to the character.
It is, actually. Vincent says part of the problem with the Twitch chat is that the top of the feed is taken up by that header. I know. It's so annoying, and I cannot figure out how to get rid of it. I don't think they let you get rid of it because I think they want it to be there to show that some of you guys are giving.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of control over what the Twitch chat does.
Yeah. Dreylox, thank you for Twitch Prime. That's awesome, and thank you for the happy affiliate anniversary message. This is a sick layout to incorporate both chats. I did the best I could. Thank you, Erebus Jones, jumping in there at the last minute. Again, look, Shadowist just dropped, what is 500 SEK?
Swedish kroner, I believe.
So that's 5 times what the other fellow gave us.
Yeah, I would guess that's like close to about $50.
Really? Shadowist, what are you doing, bro? That's freaking awesome, man. Wow. Oh, wow. Mice Q. Yeah, so we still do have some people on the old system.
Oh, yeah.
Not a ton of people, but there's still some. Some of you guys that have been around since the beginning on SIFTD, you've just stayed on the old subscription system all this time. And you're still there. So, and look at Vincent just jumped over to the Twitch chat. This is funny watching this. People go back and forth. Yeah, man. Ryoga Hibiki, thank you for everything. Thank you for your generosity. Thanks to everybody who's given us anything. Thanks to people who are just showing up to watch the show live on YouTube. This is a new thing. I did not just assume people were going to show up. We launched the stream, and for the first, 10 minutes, there was nobody on the YouTube stream. And I was like, oh, this is going to be embarrassing if we put the stream up and there's nobody in that chat. But no, you guys fixed all that. So that's awesome. Thank you very much. What else we got here? I got to say, it's cooler on the YouTube chat, Cinetike says. David5807, thank you for Twitch Prime as well. I got to say, it's cooler on the YouTube chat to see everyone's different currencies. Yeah, you don't see that. They just convert everything. Well, you can't even really just donate money on Twitch.
No, it's all bits.
It's bits, stuff. Yeah, they convert it. So you actually see the currency on YouTube, which I agree is better. Shadowist says that's around $50. Thank you, man. That is incredible. That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let me get down to the bottom of the chat here. So when I go back to it, everything's all caught up. Let me check YouTube before we get going here. If you stream it, they will come, Devon Fava says. I appreciate that, man. Again, we do have a much bigger audience on YouTube as far as subscribers and things like that. So I'm hoping that our streams can hold up here as we go forward with YouTube. But thank you guys very much, and I'm glad that we finally have this all set up, and we'll be good to go going forward. No questions in chat. I think everyone's just taken aback by the dual chat, the stereoscopic chat. Usually we get a couple questions early on. Yeah, do we have a mod actually on YouTube? That's a good question.
I don't think so.
I don't think we do.
You're probably going to want one of those.
Yeah. Or I need to go in and set some stuff up and make sure certain words are excised from the chat. But be good, people. For this first 2 weeks.
Well, that always works.
It always works on the
Shouldn't have said
internet.
anything.
Asking people to be good people. So anyway, I'll look into that for this week. Like I said, baby steps. We do one thing, and then we make sure we got it locked down, and then we do another thing. So that's how we're going to do it here on GameFace. All right, Matt. You ready to do this show?
What have we been doing?
It doesn't feel like the show until we start talking about actual games. It just feels like it's just a chat and like a fun time. I enjoy this part of the show, actually. I do wish we had more time to do a Q&A at the end of the show. That's another goal for me, is to get Q&A back into the show a little bit more frequently. So anyway, that's it for housekeeping. We're about to review Death Stranding 2, but before we do that, here's a word from our sponsor, L to the S to the Cream.
LS Cream is a fine cream liqueur created by fellow gamer and sifter Stevens Charles. It's inspired by an ancestral recipe from Haiti called Cray Mass, and a double gold winner for its original taste at the New York Wine and Spirit International Competition. LS Cream can be enjoyed on the rocks or as a mixer for drinks with its rich blend of fresh cream and neutral grain spirits with notes of coconut, vanilla, cinnamon, and nutmeg. It's great in coffee or to make espresso martinis. To learn more, discover amazing drink recipes, or to track down your own bottle using a handy store locator, head to creamls.com/sifted. That's creamls.com/sifted.
All right, people, head to creamls.com/sifted. That website is awesome, and it has really everything that you need there. A way to find bottles locally, a way to get the bottles shipped to your door. It's got it all. It's got awesome drink recipes. I have made 3 drinks, probably, from the recipes. I'll say this, it takes a little bit of time, and you do have to make sure that you have all the ingredients. But I think most people who bake a lot probably will have most of the ingredients to make the very best LS Cream drinks. Again, go to creamls.com/sifted. If you drink it all, I promise you, if you buy a bottle, you will not regret it. I have not had one single person tell me that they bought a bottle of LS Cream and regretted it. In fact, most people are like, my biggest problem was I drank it too fast, and now I have to try to find another one. So again, go to creamls.com/sifted, and they'll help you out. Also, in this episode, we have a new sponsor this week, and I'm going to wait to unveil it a little bit later, but we do have a new sponsor. I know I had a call out for new sponsors for GameFace on the YouTube version of the show for about a month and a half, 2 months now. That's gone. GameFace is all booked up. We will not take more than 3 sponsors in GameFace at a time because I just feel like it overrides the show with too many advertisements. So we're back up to 3 sponsors on GameFace. That's exactly where I want it, and you have to wait to find out what our new sponsor is. Coming up later in the show. Okay, it's time to talk about Hideo Kojima and his opus, Death Stranding 2. Just came out. Was it Friday or Thursday that it came out?
It came out Friday, but you can get early access, I think, Wednesday night.
Yeah. So a lot of you guys have probably, and girls, have been playing this for a while now at this point. Matt, how many hours have you put into it?
Oh, I don't know. 10 to 15-ish.
Yeah.
In there.
I'm around 20, I think.
I didn't start it until I finished the first game, which I powered
You
through
brave soul.
during the week and finished it on Friday.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I saved right before I thought the game was going to end.
Yeah.
And it went 4 more hours after that. Just the biggest load of horse shit.
At the end.
I mean, it's all just a lot of it's nonsense, and a lot of it is like big reveals of things I already knew because they were extremely obvious, and the game is like acting like it's some big shock that this character is also this character. I'm like, yeah, they look exactly the same, and they're voiced by the same person. What was I not supposed to think those were the same person? Like, what are you doing?
He likes to lay it on.
It's so weird. It's so dumb. And then, just they run the cast credits 3 times at the end of that game. They run all the actors' names while you're running around on the beach waiting for more exposition to happen, and then they run the credits of all the cast with their character names next to Sam at the end of that beach sequence. And then after like an hour more cutscenes, they run a full credit sequence so he can do a post-credit scene where you find out what he's really calling the baby. And in the meantime, all this other crap it's just so clunky. And there's I mean, you know, because you played enough to know that every time you come back up out of the private room, you watch like a memory from the point of view of the BB in the little tank with Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
And you kind of find out the backstory from those scenes.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing happens in 2. Yeah.
So at the very end of the game, they replay all the events, almost all the major events of the Mads Mikkelsen stuff that you've already seen from the inside the BB bottle, but from like an omniscient, like normal movie point of view. Mm-hmm. And it's like there's no new information whatsoever. It's just like, here's everything you already know from a different camera angle. And I'm like, what? Why are we like, it spells shit out like 3 separate times from 3 separate. It's like watching a Netflix show. It's just like, we're gonna have everybody discuss this at any given moment, and at a certain point I'm just like, what is this? Like, what like at that point, all that shit, and then like they don't really explain the weird stuff, like the weird parts of the world. And like they're like, oh well, this is this thing that happens when this happens. And I'm like, but why is that what happens? Like, no, it's not. That's just how reality works. Like, people are 2 separate things, and then they end up on a beach, and then if you don't leave the beach, you get stuck somewhere else, and that's why you're a beached thing. You're stranded. That's what
stranding means. Yeah.
And it's just like it's just things where it's like, the last president of the United States, her name is Bridget Strand, which means bridge beach. And she, like, her name was that before all this happened, and she actually kind of helped cause. She does literally cause the Death Stranding. Yeah. And it's like her name. It's it just keeps reminding me of that one skit with that British guy. That's just like, I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards. You know, and it's Die Hard, man.
I applaud you for making it through that.
But I
game.
wanted to see what all this shit was.
I made it 10 hours in and I was out.
I mean, my final time on the first game was like 60 hours. I mean, about half of that was building roads for no good reason, because I enjoy building the road, and I still enjoy building the roads in the new one. The funny thing about Death Stranding 2, I don't think there's a single clunky or annoying part of Death Stranding 1 that isn't improved or outright fixed in this game. And it's still not really any better. Like, it's still not overall a better game. It's just less irritating to play moment to moment.
Yeah, I'm just going to say right off the top, I played the first Death Stranding for a little less than 10 hours. Maybe I got to 10 hours. I've already played this double the amount of time. To me, this game is much better than the first game, as far as, like, getting hooked into it, falling into the gameplay loop, rinsing and repeating.
Well, it certainly gets you in there faster. I mean, I had tutorial shit being added to the manual of the first game in the ending. Like, when you come back from the end credits, there are 2 new, like, tutorial option things you can read that are in the manual in the first game. It doesn't get, you never really feel like the full game is open to you.
There's no fandom like Hideo Kojima fandom. So Matt, just last week on our episode of GameFace, we mentioned that we are going to talk about this game this week and how we both were not huge fans of the first game. And his fans were already going after us in the comments from last week's show on YouTube. So I can't even imagine when this episode goes up. Is there a developer with a more rabid fan base than him?
Miyamoto.
Even more than Miyamoto, I think.
Miyamoto.
You think he's still bigger?
Well, I think it's
because he's disappeared.
It's bigger. I think it's bigger. It's just different because like most of what Miyamoto makes is good.
Yeah.
And not like pretentiously stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's, like Miyamoto would never randomly put Conan O'Brien in his game.
Right. Just because he wants Conan O'Brien in his game.
Just being Conan O'Brien
is reason, yeah.
And so like Miyamoto just has less to criticize, so I think there's less to defend but I think Miyamoto's Miyamoto is, yes, Kojima's an auteur, but Miyamoto is royalty. Like, they call him the god. He's not. I don't think Kojima's on the level of Miyamoto in terms of how fans feel about him. I think he's in the same ballpark, but I think Miyamoto wins that. competition in the end.
It feels like the fans of Kojima are a little less attached to reality, maybe.
Well, yeah, because they like this shit.
Right. I just mean in general. Like I don't feel like they can look at the products that he makes on an even keel.
Maybe not.
Not that Miyamoto fans can't either, but I feel like they're closer to reality.
Yeah, but also like Miyamoto, you rarely need to look honestly at a Miyamoto project and think this isn't very good.
Right.
Like
you have to
the only time you've really had to do that is Wii Music, right?
Yeah. That was definitely one of them.
Like most of the stuff Miyamoto makes is, even if it's not your cup of tea, like you can look at it and be like, this is solid. Like I understand where all the decisions happen here. It's just maybe not for me, Labo. Mm-hmm. Whereas a lot of Kojima's stuff is like, is there a reason this is the way it is other than you wanted to hang out with,
like putting a big ass
hang out with
ladder
Norman
across
Reedus?
the stream?
Boom. That is really the weird thing to me on this is like, I appreciate you can stack the ladders to put them further across. Why is the stacked ladder so much longer than both individual ladders put together to the point of comedy? Like I couldn't. I'm like, no, I just needed to get across the thing. Like it's odd, but like again, it still works better than the first game did.
And Per Dread says, Wii Music is what broke me out of the cult of Nintendo. Well, look, let's give them a quick primer of what happened in the first Death Stranding so they can understand what's happening in this one. So there's this thing called the Death Stranding where basically, like, the world becomes purgatory, I guess is the best way I can put it.
No, it's more that...
it's like
the
Earth became, like, the middle ground between life and death, basically.
No,
where you can see the people who are dead.
No, it's
hard to explain.
There have been 5 extinctions in the history of the Earth. Mm-hmm. And this was supposed to be the 6th, but there's always an entity that's responsible for the extinction happening, and every living person has what's called a beach, which is what those weird, empty, dead beaches are that you see in this game all the time.
On the beach,
and all the time, when you die, your ha, which is your soul, is separated from your ka, which is your body, and your ha goes to your beach, and then basically walks off into the ocean, into the afterlife. Basically, what happens in the Death Stranding is the entity that was supposed to end all life. Their beach is basically a higher beach that encompasses all beaches, and they decided they didn't want to do that, or have to live and watch it happen in slow motion. They decided to make it happen faster, and they speed ran the apocalypse. And the end result of that was that Haas could no longer cross the beach properly if they were not. They were tethered still to the real world, and so if you don't burn a body. Their soul is still tethered to their body, comes back to look for it, but they can't re-merge with it, so they just kind of end stranded. That's what BTs are, the weird supernatural enemies in this game. That stands for beached things.
Yeah, the oily looking stuff.
And that means they are basically trapped, and they have a core of antimatter, and if they come into contact with a human being, the antimatter reacts with the matter of the human being and causes what's called a void out, which is essentially like a nuclear explosion that can kill everything within like a multi-mile radius. So it's very, very dangerous for humans to be around outside where these BTs can be, because you could literally basically set off a nuclear equivalent of a nuclear explosion the size of Manhattan, which is exactly what happened when the first void out ever happened. It has something to do with these things and umbilical cords and
okay, let's fast forward. We can't talk about the first game for an hour.
But basically, the 6th extinction never happened.
Yeah. And just talk about Norman Reedus' role was to reconnect. So everything shut down. He reconnects like basically the internet across America.
Right. So because no one can go outside anymore. That's why one of the reasons the first one I guess resonated with people is because it happened to come out a year before the pandemic, where we couldn't go outside anymore.
Yeah.
And you can't fly. No, there's no flying anymore. It's called chiral. It's called chirality. It's like a substance that basically fucks things up.
Corrosive.
It's a side effect of things. It makes so the rain ages things if it touches it. Because there's no internet, there's no ship, there's no anything, there's no flight, there's no nothing. People called porters go around and deliver stuff to everybody, and they are considered heroes because they have the most dangerous job in the world. Sam is one of the best porters in the world because he has what's called dooms. He is a dooms sufferer, and that means he can sense BTs. And there are levels of dooms, and he's at like level 2, which means he gets chills and goosebumps when they're around, so he knows when they're around. And then he gains a bridge baby, a BB, that lets him see them in the game. In the beginning of this game, he has somehow elevated his dooms level so he doesn't need a BB to see BTs anymore, which is convenient because it means they don't have to drastically change the gameplay, even though you don't run around with a BB for most of the time.
Oh, well.
Until later.
That's complicated, I guess, is the way you could put it, without spoiling anything. And this is set 11 years after. So he finishes Connecting America.
Well, no, it's at 11 months.
11 months, sorry. And he and his little baby have taken up the domestic life. He's like raising the little kid Lou. And
at the end of the game, Guillermo del Toro basically gives him an out that he can disappear and not be tracked, even though because he's a hero and he's reconnected the whole United States through it's basically the internet using the beaches to be basically super powered internet. And they believe the more they connect everything, the more it will stabilize the Death Stranding, which is why basically everybody's obsessed with having Sam run around and establish this was his magic necklace of networking. And so that's basically what happens here is they're like, hey, we'd like you to go connect Mexico up.
It doesn't take a whole lot of convincing for him to leave Lou behind, who he says he's obsessed with.
Yeah, with Fragile, who he hasn't seen in a year and who gotten him into all this shit in the first place.
So what happens is 11 months later, he's living this domestic life with Lou, the baby, and she shows up and is like, hey, we want you to connect Mexico, and if you do well with that, maybe we'll have you connect Australia. And he's like, sure thing.
The idea is basically like the new United States, the UCA, is looking for him because he disappeared, and Lou, being a bridge baby, is considered UCA property.
Right.
And like Lou is an asset to them, basically. You'd think that considering what Sam did for them, they could just let that shit go.
You would think they'd let it slide.
But apparently not. Everyone thinks he's the greatest person ever, except, no, we're going to take a child away from you because they might be valuable.
Right.
So he agrees to do it. And I love that there's a whole thing about how, like, oh, it's this, about a couple days travel, you'll be right back, but it's only, get to the south part of Mexico, and you go out and you look at your destination, and it's like a mile away. It's literally 1,600 meters away, which is about a mile.
You link up all of Mexico in like a day.
Yeah, all of Mexico. They're like, oh, you've hooked up all of Mexico. I'm like, I walked like 2 miles. Like it's like I know Mexico's bigger than that, even with a giant tar belt to the bottom of it.
I couldn't believe it either. I was
very
like, what?
Funny.
I'm like,
and it's just like the first game where like you have this early section where it kind of teaches you the ins and outs of the game,
tutorial.
And then you go to the big map that is the main meat of the game, which is Australia.
Yeah, you stay in Mexico for like an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Now I stayed for a little longer than that because I wanted to get my ratings up with the different locations, because every time you get a new star rating, you get a better blueprint, and I wanted better weapons before I went to Australia because it's Australia.
You didn't need them though.
Even before the Death Stranding, you're gonna want something you can use to fight the venomous monsters with.
Yep, and so he sets out to connect Mexico first, and then he moves on to Australia, and Australia is just gigantic. It's I've played 20 hours of this game, and I think I've actually reconnected maybe like a quarter of it at this point.
Yeah, the map of the United States is bigger than you think it is in the first game, too. But this must be 3 times the size.
I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish this game. Again, I've just, full disclosure, I've spent about 20 hours with it so far.
Fire Native, you do not walk to Australia. There is a magic portal in Mexico called a plate gate that you can go through, and it takes you to Australia. The idea is that they think if you can connect up enough of Australia, they can figure out where the next plate gate is. Because the thing is, because there's no air travel and no communication, they don't know what's been happening outside of North America all this time. So the idea is that if you can hook up Australia, you might be able to find other plate gates, which might lead you to other continents, which could lead to the reconstruction of global society.
Yep.
Which Sam, surprisingly enough, seems to consider a pretty good reason to do this. Which Sam is a little more agreeable in this game. I have to
surprisingly agreeable.
Now he does for all the nonsense at the end of the first game, he does become a more connected person. He loses his allergy to touching people. Like he loses his fear of being touched, which you can actually see in the beginning of this game, where he thinks Guillermo del Toro's character Dead Man
He goes to try to
hug him because they actually become friends by the end of the first game.
But he's a hologram.
Yeah. So Sam is actually more of a person in this. Like I am constantly surprised by him actually responding to stuff in this, because he doesn't do that in the first. Every once in a while something happens, he's like, "Oh, that was pretty cool." I was like, "Oh, you had a reaction to something. Look at that."
Yep.
It's interesting. He's so dirty. Look at that.
In the story, it hints on
caked in mud,
climate change, overcoming isolation, so the whole COVID pandemic thing, rebelling against automation and humans being replaced by machines. There's all these kind of themes in it.
It's all
Guns.
It's all about as subtle as a linebacker in a ballet.
Government versus private military, corporation, all that stuff that you're used to from Kojima's games is all in
But
here.
I think maybe he thinks it's more palatable to an American audience if it's said with an Australian accent.
Yeah, maybe. And then to me, like, even right out of the gate here, there's just things that just don't add up and don't make any sense. So I don't want to spoil too much, but Sam's going crazy. He's seeing stuff that's not there, and the people all around him that are trying to get him to go on this mission know it, and they're kind of humoring him, saying, "Oh, Sam, you're seeing stuff that's not there." And then they send him on this mission to save humanity. It's like, what? Like, he's not the guy. He's seeing crap, and you're sending him on a mission to save everybody.
Well, it's very like strongly attempted to be established in the first game and this game that he's the only one that can do all this.
Oh,
stuff.
really?
In part because he's the best porter in the world, and in part because he's one of the only people who can do the chirality thing because he's got the Dooms thing. There are other people who have that, but he's just happens to be good at both.
Yeah.
He's also one of a very rare thing, which is called a repatriate, which means he can't die.
Right. He just could when he
If
dies in the game.
He goes to he just comes. That's what that scene you've seen in some of the trailers where it goes down his throat and you see a little baby give you a thumbs up. Like, that is him coming back to life. The only way Sam can die is if he dies on a beach.
Right.
If he dies on a beach, his soul will leave and go to the afterlife, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
So that's basically all there to explain why you can die and come back in a video game.
It's very elaborate.
I should also note that, and that's also kind of, they refer to that pretty directly in places. And I should also note that Troy Baker's character in the first game literally looks right at you and says shit like, "One final boss fight." Like, he literally like he doesn't just break the fourth wall so much as he just sort of pisses on it and calls it paper. And it's really weird and awkward and kind of dumb.
Most of the story in this is surprisingly not really told in cinematics. A lot of it is they're just talking to these holograms.
I mean, is that surprising? Because half of Metal Gear Solid is codec conversation.
I mean, it is kind of the new
That's
codec.
what he does.
Yeah.
And in this one, Norman Reedus didn't even bother to record dialogue for most of it. It's you get like dialogue choices, but he doesn't say anything.
No, he actually doesn't say anything in the
like very rarely in the main story. If the top choice that moves things on, because the side choices are optional and the top or bottom are usually what continue the story. You'll get a Norman Reedus line
or a grunt
or something like that, but normally it's like old BioWare. Like, you're just picking a response and they're reacting like you said something.
Now, this place is where most of the cinemas happen that actually move the plot forward. You're in your little home area and
your private room.
You'll look in the mirror and a cinematic will kick off, or you'll go to your backpack and a cinematic will kick off, or you'll go to look at Lou and a cinematic will kick off. And those are generally the elaborate cinematics that really do move the plot forward, but they're not as often as I thought. I think what I would say in general is, like, this game isn't that weird. I feel like they did their best to market it that way.
I think it will get much weirder.
Yeah.
Because this sort of what the first game did too. It's like they set up all these strange characters, and then you just sort of deliver boxes for 40 hours, and then
the loop in this is
again.
very simple. Like you deliver your stuff, you get stuff.
And it's the same
for delivering
as the first one.
You talk to a hologram. They're like, "Hey, go to the terminal. There's a new mission." You go to the terminal, you get the mission, you go to this map screen where you map out your route from point A to point B, which I still don't quite understand what the purpose of that is.
Mostly it's so you can kind of keep an eye on where you're trying to go. I never did that in the first game.
Yeah. You don't need it.
Well, because I eventually got an ability in the first game to let me make the target location always on screen without having to use the compass thing. And in this one, this is an improvement for In this one, I pretty much know where everything is. Like, I find the landscape very easy to navigate in this game because I recognize places and I know where I am and I know where that mountain was. In the first game, everything looked the same.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't figure out where I was. I had to look at the map. I had to have the guidepost stuff. I had to always do that. And in this game, I do not have that problem. I think the design of the locations and the terrain is 100 times better.
It's not an open world. It's just a big patch of dirt, basically, and you can run around wherever you want in that dirt and go and accomplish side missions if you want to, but ultimately you will find walls that you get next to where there's like this weird film that's keeping you from going in a specific direction.
Well, Australia is not like that.
Really?
Yeah, Mexico.
Actually, I don't know if I never found
Mexico
the walls in
is like
Australia.
that. Mexico is a very limited
So
area.
in Australia, can you just run for miles?
Yeah.
And ignore the missions and just keep going in a direction?
Theoretically,
Yeah? I didn't think you could.
I think you might hit like a mountain range that maybe you need a cutscene to get past. But like no, like in the first game, that once you left through over the lake, you went across the lake from the tutorial. That the rest of the United States was all one
Really?
area.
I thought that it wasn't that way.
No, it's all. I mean, the tutorial is its own section area, which is pretty good size, just like Mexico was.
Yeah.
And then the United States was all one area.
Oh, okay.
And this, I assume. I mean, I have only, like you said, I've only been about a quarter of the way through Australia, but there are no. The only limitation seems to be the ocean.
Interesting. It felt like there was an end to that stuff, but
not in Australia. There is in Mexico. If you go too far to the edge in Mexico, you will run into a weird.
Yeah, I found like barriers or whatever.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So you get your mission. It's basically like, hey, take this thing that's there for you to grab, put it on your mount or carry it by hand if you want to point B, and you can go to the map screen and map it out if you want to. It seemed kind of pointless to me to do that. Once you get out in the world, you just keep tapping like the left shoulder button. It'll keep showing you your destination. Well, if you hold it, it'll show you your destination. If you tap it, it'll just scan the area around the character.
Which is a change from the first game where the hold the left one was compass and look around and see it, and then tap the right one was scan.
Right.
And the whole time I played that game, like, why are these not the same button?
Yeah.
Like what? And they
now they
consolidated them. Fantastic. Again, almost every single clunky, dumb thing in the first game is somehow improved in this one.
At least improved, if not completely fixed.
Some of it's completely fixed. Some of it's at least just better.
Yeah.
The vehicle physics are better. Everything's better. But you're still dragging a bunch of boxes across really annoying obstacles in the terrain, past really annoying enemies, to deliver to talking heads that blather on for 5 goddamn minutes about shit nobody cares about.
Yeah.
I mean, I have not skipped more dialogue than I have in these two games.
My X
in
button's
years,
getting a workout.
years and years.
It really is. They just go on and on. You have to hit that X button like 50 times to get through the dialogue.
One of the other improvements, I haven't run into this myself because I've only fought 2 bosses, but the bosses in the first game are the worst part of the game. They are all
well, you can skip them
all
now.
terrible. Yeah, now you can skip them. If you
With no
die
penalty.
once, they're like, hey, do you want to skip the boss fight? And I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, it says pretend you won.
Yeah.
It's one of the options.
and you
it
know
doesn't
what?
hurt you.
And you know what? Fair.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
I don't care. I don't care
Yeah.
if someone wants to skip a boss. I don't care if they want to skip everything and just watch the cutscenes. I don't care. As long as I can play the game in a way that I enjoy it, that's fine.
Yeah.
I want everybody to be able to enjoy every video game. I'm not going to gatekeep any of this stuff. So if they want to skip all of Mexico, cool. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me at all. As long as it's not affecting my game and the options that I want are still there, it's all good. So you go from point A to point B. You get there. You deliver your stuff into this terminal. You get rated on your mission, how long it took you. Sometimes you can pick up extra stuff. There's side missions. There's people out there that are looking for stuff. If you find it, I haven't quite figured this out actually 100%, Matt. If someone's looking for something and you find it and you put it in storage, will they automatically grab it from the storage?
No.
They
were you mean the the supply request?
Yeah.
No, you have to drop that in the circle of the supply request, and once you do that, when you're near the item, there will be an option to hit, I think, square.
I'm not talking about helping other players. I'm talking about helping like the NPCs in the game. Like they'll flash up and a guy will be like, "Hey, I lost this big pile of ceramics or whatever. If you find it, please help me out."
Well, that's usually a standard order, which you can then get.
No, it's like the sub orders.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like a side mission.
Those are called
basically.
standard orders.
Yeah. And how do you complete those?
You just take them, and then they'll guide you.
Do you have to take it to the person? Because I felt like I put something in storage and it completed the mission.
It'll tell you what to do.
Yeah?
Like if it's a standard order, yeah. If it's lost cargo, you just bring
That's what I'm
back.
talking about. Lost Cargo.
Well, Lost Cargo is just stuff you find out in the world. It's not
Right.
something they tell you about in the game.
Well, yeah, you'll get like little things in the pause thing that'll have the dude's face and be like, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah. And, oh, wow, I found it. And it seemed, I thought at least once, I just took that stuff and put it in the inventory of my ship, and they disappeared and I accomplished a mission. But no?
Not that
I was
I know
seeing
of.
things,
Like
maybe.
I mean, there are sometimes things where like a new location, like it'll be like nearby, then it'll be like he's looking for his diary, his old Australia diaries or whatever. That first.
Yeah, it's like 5 parts of it or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
No, those used to be like actual standard missions of the first game. Now they seem to be kind of things you happen across in the world.
Yeah, and you can choose to do them or not.
Yeah, you the way you do that is you then bring those back to them, and it will show you. It'll target that. You go that, and then like you go to deliver cargo, and it'll.
I may have just taken those to the right place and deposited them, and
that's probably
mission accomplished. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that is more automated now. You had to do a lot of that manually in the first game, and then you had to confirm by holding X for like a minute. All the obsession with holding X to confirm is gone in this game.
Yeah.
Like the interface is still pretty clunky, but it's way better than the first one, to the point that you can do the right thing by accident a lot of times.
Yeah.
No, you just deliver those the same way you would anything. You just do it with that or a lost cargo that goes to wherever. It's all that kind of thing.
It took me a while to figure out how the inventory in this game works. At first, I was like, so if I just put this in any inventory in the game, that's just my master inventory, and I can grab it from... No.
Private lockers are specific to locations.
You have to go back, or you lose it, or go back and get it out of that like remote locker. So what I discovered is that everything I store, I make sure I'm on my ship and I store it there, and that becomes like your universal storage. Yeah,
storing it at different locations is really... It's a temporary thing if you just don't have enough space, or you're going to need to be light on your feet, and you're
I'm
going to stash
go back and
here,
pick it up,
and I'm going to come back for you later.
It gets tedious, this game.
Oh yeah,
like there's a lot of tedium in this game, even though a lot of it's been fixed or changed from the first game.
One of the reviews of the first game called it a weaponized walking simulator, and that is still a very accurate description.
Yeah, we'll get to gameplay in a second. Let's stay on the design here for a little bit longer. So I talked about there's no universal inventory storage, so keep an eye on that. If you aren't playing it yet, you can't just drop your stuff in an inventory and get it back. You have to go back to that very specific station to get the stuff out of there. So it's not going to show up in all your inventories. Just remember that. After a mission, he's rated in 5 different categories: combat, stealth, porter, bridge link, and servicemanship. It took me a long time to figure out what those last two, how I could improve those last two.
Yeah, servicemanship is basically just like doing stuff for everybody.
Yeah,
like
being a part of like the connectivity of the game, basically.
Yeah, finding lost cargo and helping with building stuff or putting down structures, basically helps with that. And then bridge link is mostly doing stuff that involves the asymmetrical multiplayer, contributing materials to roads and stuff. I mean, I'm doing real well on the bridge links.
I bet you are. For me, the first 10 hours, though, those 2 ratings were my worst.
No, they don't, because you can't do anything with them for a long time. Like, that part of the game just isn't open yet.
Yeah, that's starting to change now, though, that there's more opportunities.
The roads in this are even more rewarding now, because you can move much faster on them. It's like driving on the freeway.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Very, very into that.
Yep. As far as upgrades for Sam, there's these things called APAS enhancements. It's basically that very simple skill tree you just saw in the B-roll like a minute ago. It's not crazy extensive, but it's enough. And I don't know that I ever noticed all that much when I increased the things in that skill tree.
Well, it depends on the skill. Like some of that stuff is major. Like there's one that makes the vehicle batteries run down slower, which is
that's
huge.
Yeah. Well, actually, the other players are huge with that because they set up those stations that like zap your vehicles and overcharge them.
The generators are very good.
Yeah. Very helpful. Other people help a lot in this game.
And then there's another skill that extends the range, like doubles the range of the terrain scanner. Huge. There's one that lets you see. Because early at the beginning of the game, you can't see enemies. You can only see the cargo they're carrying. So if someone's not carrying cargo, they're invisible to your scanner. But eventually, you get a skill in that tree that lets you it makes it a motion detector, so you can actually see enemies whether they're carrying anything or not.
There are towers you can find where you can scan the area and mark enemies.
Yeah, and actually, the one important thing to note about the watchtowers, which they do tell you eventually, but I didn't realize until later, you can activate a watchtower and scan an area from anywhere.
Oh, I didn't know that, actually.
Anywhere on the map. As long as you've discovered it, you can just pick the watchtower, see through its eyes, and see what's there and mark targets. You do not have to go to the watchtower. You just can't be in a vehicle.
There's a lot of stuff like that about this game that it just doesn't tell you, and you just kind of stumble upon it all on your own. It took me forever just to figure out like how guns worked, like in ammo and reloading, and like my gun would run out, and like you can't. It doesn't just load the ammo from another gun. You have to go into the menu and just choose the other gun.
Pick the other gun. Yeah.
It's so annoying. It's like, why?
Well, eventually you get. Eventually you do get ammo capacity.
I got that. I got the ammo capacity upgrade, which helps, but it still won't load ammo from one gun to another.
No, each gun has its own ammo capacity.
It's so annoying. It's like no other game does it that way for a reason.
I mean, it's still very clunky.
Yeah.
It's still, fighting bosses is annoying because you have to deal with all that shit, and there's no clean way to switch through things.
You're constantly getting knocked down, and the stuff's getting knocked out, and it's like pick it up.
Even that first boss with the giant head, it's just like he do the thing where he throws all the debris at you, and I'm like, I don't know how to dodge that. I'm in the middle of tar. It's just knocking me over. I'm dropping all my shit. The baby's crying. I mean,
Another thing you can customize is your backpack, and you also saw this in the B-roll a little bit earlier, and it turns into like a Resident Evil thing where you're trying to orient the stuff on the backpack, like the upgrades. Like you get like a grenade upgrade and an ammo upgrade, but they're actual physical things that go in your backpack. So like you also get this back shield that's really big, and trying to figure out how to fit the back shield on there with all the other stuff, it turns into this little like puzzle game.
Well, the solution to that is to not use the back shield.
Yeah, because it's pretty pointless. Yeah. It also shatters after a while.
Yeah, it's just what you want is you want grenade pouches, you want the anti-gravity things that make everything lighter, like on the backpack, and you want the largest ammo pouch level 2. Yeah. Because that ups your ammo capacity for every gun by like 3 times or something like that.
And then the other thing is I found weird about this is how much people care about likes. You're living in this dystopian world where the internet was basically wiped from the face of the earth.
I don't know if you picked up on this, but it's a very subtle social media parallel.
Right. Beat me right over the head with that one. But they talk about likes all the time. It's very awkward.
I mean, they do that in the first one, too. That's a bit, I mean, again, and they don't really do anything.
Yeah, it's just,
I mean, obviously, the likes per individual location
give
you the star rating, and the star ratings give you new blueprints and important upgrades. But in terms of your total likes, you get likes from every time someone uses one of your things you've built, every time someone uses one of my roads. I log back in, and I've got like 1,000 likes or so. By the end of Death Stranding 1, I had like 500,000 likes. I mean, it did nothing. I don't know what it was for. It didn't do anything. It wasn't. I mean, there was a leaderboard, but that was about it. And I wasn't even anywhere close to the top of it. It was like, I don't know what. I mean, I think they're just there because that's what you. And now, of course, you can log. Instead of the emails, they have basically like a social media, like an Instagram feed you can load up. And you're supposed to like hit the touchpad as much as you can to like the posts. Yeah. And like because you just do it once, you get 10 likes every time you like someone's post that they put up that you see. Yeah. But you can hammer the touchpad and get up to like 20, 25 likes in the space that you're allowed to do a like section. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know why you would do that. And also it's weird, right? Like because like sometimes the posts are just to Sam. So it's like Fragile posts a picture of her babysitting Lou, and it's like, and you can hammer that button. I hammered the touchpad button until like I gave it 25 likes, and it's like, so I liked that post that only I and she can see 25 times. Like, how's she gonna react? She's like, fucking weirdo. Like I was like just once is enough, dude. You don't need. Like I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like it's very weird. I'm sure this is communicating some very profound truth to Hideo Kojima, but I'm just like, I don't really get what the point is. Yep. I do enjoy the flying Metal Gear Rex you get to go around. Yeah. That's a lot of fun.
So again, you go from point A to point B, and you basically just deal with the hazards in between. The hazards can be the terrain you have to walk over. A lot of times it's just a stream, a river. Or there's floods that pop up.
The flood thing is one of the coolest environmental effects I've ever seen. There it is. Like,
perfect timing.
It can just happen, and like it's
sometimes the B-roll magic just happens.
Like it doesn't really make the game any better. I mean, again, it's just another annoying. There's a landslide from an earthquake. That's really cool too. Again, the first time that happened, I was going up a canyon. I was like, oh my god, all these rocks are tumbling down. I'm like, oh my god, now there's all these rocks in the canyon. I have to navigate it, and then all the rocks faded out.
They just disappear.
And I'm like, oh. What the fuck? Yeah. But like, there's things where all these like at one point I was in this area had all these narrow canyons. Like the canyons are about as tall as Sam's head. Yeah. Like, a little carved canyon. And I was like, and there was a river nearby, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like I'll just go through these canyons and get away from these things. And then I noticed that the bottom of the canyon, in the middle of the canyon, it's like everything's very green and there's bushes everywhere. And I'm like, well, does that mean that the water comes in here? Because that would mean that's
what it should denote.
And all of a sudden, it's like flood, and like the water comes rushing down. I'm like, oh shit! And I had to climb out of the, it's like waist high, so I got out of it. Okay, but that was really cool. That's really cool. Like the landscape literally changes depending on what the rainfall is like.
And there's an eco angle to this.
Oh,
acid rain and everything.
But I'm just like, I'm just like, wow, I can't wait for Horizon Zero Dawn 3 where it does that and it's in an actual game.
Right. That I want to play. The gunplay feels okay. Like, I think the assault rifles feel okay. The shotgun does not feel like a shotgun at all.
No.
But the automatic guns, I think, feel all right.
Mostly okay. I mostly use the assault rifle and the silenced pistol.
And you have to use the right type. Like there's the second boss that you fight. You can only use like MP weapons against him, and so if you take your other type of weapons, and they don't work.
Actually, that's even not. They tell you that, but they're wrong. So MP weapons do not work against him yet. Because they haven't, because you're on your way to deliver the MP data that will let them upgrade MP bullets so they hurt BTs. Mm-hmm. So if you just shoot that giant head with the empty bullets, it won't hurt him. What you can do?
You're talking about the second boss, the robot boss,
right?
Yeah.
But
you need the MP to attack.
Right,
him.
but the first boss they tell you beforehand that you can. The thing says that MPs are good for everything. It's not. It does not good for that until after that boss. But what you can do, and this is from the first game too, if you hit something with a blood grenade, it leaves that mist of blood. Yeah. If you shoot bullets through that mist, it hurts them more.
Oh, interesting.
Because it basically supercharges the bullets with the blood, because the blood is what hurts the BTs.
At first in the game, you can only damage the BT with blood weapons, and that changes eventually. But
now I can just use whatever.
Anything. Yeah.
But early on, you need the blood stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was
chucking blood grenades.
I mean, he's got an arm on him. I'll tell you.
Yeah, he does. It's true. So I think generally the gunplay feels okay, but then it starts getting mixed in with, like, I'm carrying something, so I'm running to one side, and I have to keep hitting the R trigger to balance the load, or I have to keep going into the menu. I picked up something, now it's off balance. I have to go to the menu, and I have to hold the triangle button to rebalance the load. And you're doing that. You're fighting with guns in these people. You're doing stealth with this pile of packages on. It's absurd.
Well, I make sure that I don't carry anything when I have to deal with combat. Like,
I just jump off the bike. It's like I load my bike up with everything I can, and then I jump off. And a lot of times my bike can't hold it all, so I still have stuff on my back, and I just go fight with it on my back.
Yeah,
and
it's fine.
It just adds tedium to the combat. And it's like if you fall down, it takes forever to get up sometime. Like,
you can ditch the backpack, though.
Yeah.
You can just put it down.
Yeah, you can. And I've done that before. Like, if it's a really big battle. But
the trouble is that also puts down your other weapons.
You're right.
Because then all you have is what's in your pouches and what's on your
because your weapons are also
rack.
Boxes that you carry around. Like, it's just the whole thing is just so weird. It feels like he made this game and he had never played another game in a lot of ways. It's like he has introduced problems that have long been solved by other developers and other video games. I don't know if it's intentional, if he wants the tedium in the game so that imparts tedium on the player and it wears down the player so that the highs are higher. I don't know, but to me it's just annoying and tedious and not fun. The other thing I would say is that this game is so easy. Like, I've died a couple times. Like, I died on purpose a couple times just to see what happens. I died one time because I got caught in the muck or whatever, but like, generally, it's very hard to die in this. The enemies are so easy and dumb to kill. It's like...
Well, then it's just... I guess in response to criticism of the first game, like, you have a lot more offensive options in this than you did in the first game. Mm-hmm. Like, if you get to get into a BT field in the first game was like, I gotta sneak through this.
There's a little bit of that still.
Some of that, but every time I've run into a BT field that I couldn't find a way around, I just killed them all.
Yeah.
Because I'm always carrying a bunch of blood grenades and a bunch of guns, and I'm just gonna shoot all of you. I'm just gonna kill you all until you don't. Because otherwise, the mechanics of trying to get away from them and the tar thing and all that, it's just infuriatingly stupid.
Fighting the BTs in this is the most annoying thing ever. And sometimes
they are some of the most annoying enemies in the history of video games.
Who in the hell thought this was a good idea?
Well, and then like I have not been captured by one in the tar pits yet. But in the first game, they do. You saw that in the B-roll you had earlier, where you
did it on purpose.
You grab by them and they. They swing it. You go.
Then
super
you go fight
speed,
a boss,
and they drag you to basically where you're going to fight. Like in the first one was like these big dog things.
Now it's a mini boss.
But in the first game, you'd get stuck on shit.
No.
And a couple times I had to literally restart the game because I got caught and I got stuck in a little it tried to go through a little section of rocks it couldn't fit through, and it got stuck there. I don't know if the game still does that in this. It feels like that would be number one on my things to fix in the new game. But
it didn't happen to me.
But it's just, but it's also just like every time that happens, it's not scary. It's not like tense. It's just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
It's just annoying. He's mashing the button, trying to get out of the black muck.
Yeah.
It's like, this is 1999.
Yeah. Although it is funny when that happens, and then you get to like whatever like delivery you're doing, and like everyone's like talking about how great Sam is, and Sam is just standing there covered in tar and black blood, tar, and he's just like, and it's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm great. Can I have a shower, please?
Yeah,
it's. Like, I don't know how much of this is intentionally supposed to be funny.
That's what I'm asking. Like, I don't know whether the tedium's intentional or not.
Like a lot of it is clearly there for the sake of whimsy, but that's not the same thing.
Well, it's like you talk to this little puppet dude,
right?
Who you treat like a piece of like dry cleaning. You hook him onto these hooks and like swing him around inside.
Yeah, he's a sentient, like he's a human being soul inside a stop motion animated doll.
And then he works like the eagle from Assassin's Creed. You can throw him into the air.
Which he doesn't seem to like very much. He's just like, oh, here we go. And then Sam hangs him up in his room, and then he watches him sleep.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, you could at least put him out in the room where everybody else is to hang out with people. It's like,
nope, you're going to watch me sleep. It's so easy.
Currently in my game, he's begging me to share my playlist with him. Right. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
I've got S rank on every mission. Is there a higher rank than S? Is there like SS or
double
S+? Is there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got SS. S rank on everything.
But also none of that matters.
Yeah.
No.
It helps with your
S rank
stars,
is
right?
maximum on like the normal missions, and then if you take a standard mission, they rank you in terms of, they're called legendary things, which is like an online leaderboard thing, and that goes up to SS.
Okay.
You're probably not gonna see that nearly as much as the normal missions.
Yeah, I get S rank. I've literally every mission S rank I've had so far.
I got one A rank because it was found cargo. That was breakable, and I
broke it.
I did a big jump off a cliff,
and something fell
on my badass motor trike.
That's the other thing. You have to like protect the cargo, and like you get this spray that you spray on the cargo to repair it.
Right.
It's so stupid.
But it doesn't repair the cargo; it just repairs the containers.
The containers, yeah.
But why do the contain?
Because if the containers aren't fixed, then the stuff gets damaged on the inside.
Right, but fragile stuff can get damaged whether the cargo container is damaged or not.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
so there's nothing you can do to fix that, even though you have a spray that magically repairs the cargo containers. And if the cargo, that's because what the cargo containers are made out of. Why don't we just make everything out of what we make the cargo containers out of?
Right.
But
see, if you look at this game that way, it all falls apart. Right. You really have to turn your brain off to play this game.
Right, but then like you're supposed to try to engage your brain and when he starts getting into the actual, and I'm like, I'm supposed to take some of this seriously because it's being played so straight some of the times, and then sometimes I'm just like, it's weird, and
like not weird like the way I thought it was going to be weird. No, it's going to be weird because there's going to be characters that I didn't understand, and these things are going to happen that I didn't get. It's not weird in that way. It's weird because of the way it's designed.
Yeah. Like, it's just a weird way to present it.
Yeah.
More than it's anything. It's nothing like, I mean, it's like mechs and weird, like, supernatural shit. I mean, anyone who's watched an anime has seen weirder shit than, I mean, yeah, okay. Clearly, Kojima thought the imagery in Attack on Titan was compelling.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. You can definitely see it, for sure. Graphically...
Oh, unbelievable.
Wow.
The tech on display here is maybe second to none.
He flaunts it, too. Like, notice he does pans where he goes behind the character's head, so you can see that he has modeled the ear canals that go into the head. Like, they know that this game is a stunner and that they've gone above and beyond a lot of ways, and they show it off.
I honestly did not know the opening scenes weren't live action until it let me play.
Right.
Like, there's some real... And obviously, they're tweaking it a little bit there. Like, that section looks better than almost any other part of the game. Mm-hmm. But, man, it's a visual stunner, and it runs like a dream.
It does.
On a PlayStation 5 Pro.
I have just a base PS5. It runs great. I'll say this. I almost melted my hand off putting it behind my PS5.
Yeah, it is working hard.
Coming out of there.
I can hear it.
But then they do other cool stuff. Like, there's one
Also, this
scene...
motherfucker burns through a DualSense charge like you would not believe.
Yeah.
Like, you get maybe 2 hours of a charge out of this.
I forgot that DualSense had motion controls until I played this game. And I was like, oh, that's right. I forgot that it even had gyros in it because most games never use them, but this game does. But then there are other things...
What does it use them for?
To shake Lou.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then there are other moments, like there's this one scene where you meet this character for the first time and they have a mask on. You don't know who it is. And then they zoom in on the crotch. to show you that there's no bulge there, so that you know at the very least that it's a woman. And then that scene ends, and he calls that character a he. So there's all kinds of little touches like that in the game that, like, if you really pay attention and you notice. I wish those touches were in more than the presentation. I wish it was in the actual play and the actual what you actually do while you're playing the game instead. But I guess what I would say is that I am enjoying this way more than the first game. Like,
it is easier to play.
It's easier to keep playing. I will say this: it's designed where it's like you finish the mission, you get all the things, you go to the terminal. It provides me an opportunity to quit playing, and I often do. The opportunity.
You seem to have turned a corner on this a little bit because you weren't happy with it.
At first, I literally didn't want to play. I played.
I got a very angry text from you several days ago.
I had forgotten, honestly, Matt, what the first game was like. Right. First of all, I didn't play it that much. I only played like 9 hours.
I am very curious what people anyone who didn't play the first game jumping into this one. Like, this was a very easy game for me to get into because I just played the first one, and I'd played the first one fairly extensively before anyway, and I knew what it was. I knew what Sam does. I know what the delivery system is, more or less. It's just the same with some streamlining, basically. It was very easy to sort of slot into. If you've never played Death Stranding, I don't even know what you'd make of this shit.
I was lost. So the first few missions, I thought it was exactly like the first game. And that's why I started getting really frustrated. I was like, oh, this is no better than the first game. And I hated the first game. And literally every mission, I would turn it off and go do something else and come back. And then it does get to a point right around when you go to Australia. The game kind of finds its groove and the player can find its groove. And at that point, as someone who didn't play the first game all that much, I kind of got it. And I was like, okay, I understand the loop now. I understand what the time commitment's going to be for each mission. I can gauge that, how much time I have, whether I can complete missions. Once I kind of wrangled that stuff, I was able to complete 2 missions in a row instead of just 1. But I rarely ever went beyond 2 missions in a row before I stopped playing this game. Because I just knew what was coming next. I'm like, so I'm going to have to ride the bike across some crappy terrain. I'm going to kill 3 or 4 enemies on the way there. They're going to put up no resistance, but I got to kill them. And I'm going to get there, and then I'm going to...
Well, then sometimes
fast forward through all the dialogue.
And sometimes I'm like, okay, I want to get this guy up to 4 stars because I want the best exoskeleton, basically. And so I went further in the direction I hadn't gone yet. I found a bandit camp, a brigand camp. They're called. The Australians call the bandits brigands. So I got there. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna kill. You don't kill anyone in this game. All the guns are non-lethal. Which is a thing. There's a distinction in the first game where you can use lethal weapons, but again, if you leave a body somewhere and you don't incinerate them, it causes a void out. So if you killed someone in the first game, which included knocking them out but leaving them in the river, I found out the hard way. You have to go clean up the body. You have to pick the body up and take it to an incinerator, or you can actually void out a section of the map. One of his friends started going up the watchtower to find him, and I shot him in the head right as he got to the top, and he fell like 40 feet, and he's just out. He's just fine. He's just dizzy. It's okay.
Like you saw assassinations in the B-roll. Yeah. You're just putting him to sleep, even though it literally looks like you broke his neck so bad his head ripped off.
Yeah, you wrap him with that strand thing and flip him over your head. And it's like I definitely heard a crack, but he's very quiet. He's gonna be sleeping. It's a nap time. But I went to this I thought maybe they'd have cargo to deliver to the place I wanted to up my ranking at. They did not. All they had was like two things full of blood bags. It was useless. But in the middle there was this thing where I'm like, if I interact with it's like a weird device. So I'm like, hack the thing, destroy it. Okay, I'll destroy it. I'm gonna go with that. And I eventually went back and I got my next mission, and the next mission was to go destroy that device and then go to the next thing. And I'm like, okay, what's that gonna be? And I came out, and Dollman was like, so you've already taken care of that device, Sam. You remember that? So we can just go straight to the thing. I'm like, that's cool that they saw that might happen. So that there is, in the first game, anything that you had to do as part of a mission just simply didn't exist until that mission was given to you. So there was no way to kind of get ahead of the game in that regard. This game, and that I got stuck on some things in the first game because I'm like, well, that feels like this should be here, or that should be there. And then like it would give me the mission. I'm like, well, I know that's not there because I've been there. And then eventually I'd go there. I'm like, and magically this building would be there now or something. Yeah. And I'm like, eventually I learned, okay, the game lies to you, but that doesn't happen in this game. So I think that's a big improvement to me.
I mean, this game is really polished. Like, I've not seen any bugs or anomalies or anything like that.
This is clearly the game that was in his head.
And
when
this
he made the
often
first
happens
one.
with the second game in a franchise where it's
Assassin's
like
Creed 2,
the ideas finally come
Fable
to fruition.
2.
Yeah, a
Like,
lot of
twos.
A lot of twos are sometimes
Yeah.
the best ever in
Yeah.
those franchises. So
Street Fighter 2.
yeah, a lot of that happens with bands too. Like their second album is their best album in a lot of cases. Like because
you either get the sophomore album is either the best one or the sophomore slump.
is when you realize that they aren't that
Or they
good
can't do it,
and they're never coming.
They had one in
back.
them,
and that was
it.
that. Yeah.
Pulp Fiction, his second movie.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
It does happen a lot.
And this is definitely some would say Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah. Not me.
I wouldn't. But no,
definitely not
some
me.
would.
But so, I guess maybe a good way to couch our sort of final wrap up of this game is to maybe look at it from the perspective of somebody playing this for the first time versus somebody who maybe did play the first one or didn't play the first one. As someone who played very limited amounts of the first one and has now played the second one a lot more, it is much better. So I will say this: if you liked the first Death Stranding, you're gonna really like this one.
Yeah, I can't imagine you wouldn't like this.
You will love this game.
This is just the first game, but better in terms of gameplay.
Yeah.
It's just all around better. Mexico looks like Mexico, and Australia really looks like Australia. The red sand is very, very striking, and it changes locations. There's jungles and there's weird creatures in the jungle. Like, I didn't expect giant spiders in this game, but here they are.
Protect the animal. Like, there's just all this stuff that just happens. Like when you're out in the world, I'm like, wait, am I supposed to save animals now?
Yeah, you can
like,
say you can say hello to echidnas. Like it's you deliver a kangaroo at one point.
Yeah.
Like it plays with the setting to a fun degree.
Way more than the first game did. And then, so if you're someone like me who didn't really like the first one, you'll like this one more.
Yeah, but it's not like if.
I would struggle to tell someone to spend $70.
If you were right on the edge of the first game where you're like, oh, I almost like this, but it's not quite getting there. Like for me, like this might put you over the top for that.
I think it would.
But if you dislike Death Stranding, this is just more Death Stranding, but more polished.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for me, there was nothing else to play really this week.
Right.
And so on a normal week where we are juggling like 2 or 3 games, I would have went to another game.
Yeah. More or less probably the same. Like if there was like, I don't know what else to, if there was like, I don't know, give me another big game that might be out. Not Donkey Kong.
The Outer Worlds 2.
Oh, I would definitely have switched to the Outer Worlds 2 after a while. And I probably would have come back to this. Like I'm going to keep playing this, I think.
But again, there's not a lot to play.
There's not a lot to play, but again, I really enjoy building roads. And it's got like the asymmetric multiplayer thing on this really works for me.
The satisfaction
in a strange way.
Yeah. Because you're an empathetic person who cares about other people, and you're helping other people, and it makes you feel good.
And it does tell me when everybody uses it.
Yeah.
And the other thing I thought was cool is because again, this was in the first game too. This is something people keep saying this is new to this game. It's not new. It's just done better in this. Yeah. If you traverse the same location same path long enough, it flattens out and basically becomes a road. It clears the terrain, trees and bushes will go away. It will be marked on the map as a pathway.
Wow.
And other people can see that and use it. And so I will get notifications that so-and-so used the path you trod or whatever, which I think is pretty cool.
That's really cool.
I have basically trailblazed ways for other players to find easier ways to the locations.
And let's be honest, there's no other game that really does that.
No, it's definitely a singular thing. And again, the river stuff, the flooding, the water system, the fact that different parts of the map can become river and a lake and like I have never seen anything like that.
It's true.
And it's phenomenally cool.
Yeah, the
like,
tech in this game is really impressive. There's no doubt about it. Like, it's hard to believe that his little studio is doing this.
And like sometimes you'll see like a big, player-made bridge or something in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, why is there a bridge? Yeah. And like later, like you'll come there and the whole place is a giant lake, and the only way to get where you need to go is that player bridge. Yeah. And you're like, thank God for whoever built that fucking bridge, because they knew and I didn't. It's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that aspect of it, which I guess that's probably the thing Kojima would want you to like the most.
Yeah.
It seems to be the core of what
the communication part
about.
Of it. Yeah. I feel like that is the core concept of
in terms of the gameplay.
Franchise.
That does seem to be sort of what defines this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like I feel more prepared for things in this, even though the combat and everything's still clunky as hell. I do feel like I can handle what's thrown at me pretty much all the time.
Yeah. I didn't find it challenging.
And that didn't feel true in I felt like I was at the mercy of how weird the game mechanics were in the first game, and in this one I feel like I I feel like I'm pretty well prepared for most things.
Yeah,
and,
I don't feel any stress at all in combat in this. Like
No.
you can once you can just scan the area and it'll mark the enemies. It's so easy to walk up behind them and just stealth kill them. Like,
yeah, the enemies are fun. It's the BTs that I find annoying.
Yeah,
because
really annoying.
It's always a little weird.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that's
it's
kind
like
of
the
part of
system.
point.
Like, I don't know how. Like, you can't always see the BTs. And it's like, and next thing you know, you're just trapped in black goo, and there's a bunch of hands grabbing. You have to jam the freaking button to try to get
Well, that's
free.
one of the most annoying things in the first game. Like, one of the last things they make you do is traverse all the way back across the entire country because the fast travel stops working.
Oh, God.
And on the way, you are forcibly stopped several times to refight every single boss fight in the game, whether you like it or not. There's nothing you can do about it. It literally stops you. Like, it's not it's not like where you get to an area normally where you get to an area and you have to avoid them, and if you don't avoid them properly, they catch you.
Yeah.
It's you get to a point and the game stops and the tar spreads out and it sucks your vehicle into the ground, spits you back out, and you're like, you got to fight these fuckers now.
Yeah, or just run away and get out of the muck and
run.
run.
So as annoying as all the BT stuff tends to be outside of the boss fights in this game, I have not run into a forced combat situation at least. Which
I mean, you can avoid it if you want to.
Yeah. So that's gone.
I think there was one mission where it said, like, early on, kill all
the first encounter with the BTs. You have to the objective of your mission is to clear them out with blood grenades. So you have to fight them then.
Yeah.
But you're not going to run into a thing where you run into an area and you just automatically get captured.
Yeah, it goes away eventually. They're just forcing you to learn how to use your weapons, basically.
So it is better. It's better in basically every respect than the first game. If you love the first game, like you said, that's
no brainer. If you
love
it, no brainer.
If you've never played Death Stranding, I don't know what's necessarily here for you, because they're basically the same thing. I will say, if you have an appreciation of game tech, or like. This is a tour de force in game tech and presentation and
their engine, the
graphics
Decima
fidelity,
engine is,
the physics. I mean, the physics are still pretty wonky in certain ways,
but better.
The vehicle physics are massively improved. Massively improved.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, Matt. That's what made me quit the first game.
The vehicle physics in the first game are
I was like,
garbage.
this is insane.
When I got to the snow areas in the first game and I was trying to drive the truck in, I'm like, this is not how vehicles behave in the snow. I don't know what else to fucking tell you.
Yeah.
And in this one, I mean, you still run into some things that are probably like one thing I love. I don't know if you've noticed this. The trike's tires can open up into claws. Like if you're going off road, watch the tires.
Really?
Watch the front tires. You remember those old like monster truck toys? The animal
waffle ones, with the waffle tires.
The animal. You remember this? They were little toys, and
I don't.
When they hit an obstacle, like lion claws came out of the tires.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Over. Yeah. The trike in this has something like that.
There's little stuff like that hidden through this whole game. Little things that a lot of people may not notice, but you do, and you're like, oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's definitely there's a nice attention to detail in this game, but in a lot of cases it's applied to the wrong things. I wish they paid more attention to detail in the combat, which is something that made this game more palatable to me, but ultimately is still not up to scratch, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's still. I mean, I get some of that you can get away with just because he's not really a trained
He's
warrior.
Supposed to be clumsy. He's not an. Yeah,
but then that doesn't explain why all these people are like, well, I'm going to give you the plans for my tranquilizer sniper rifle because I think you can handle it. I'm just like, what makes you think that, for God's sake?
Yeah.
I carry boxes for it. It's like just handing your 357 Magnum over to the Amazon guy who just gave you your package. It's like, oh, you look like you can handle that. Go have some fun. Shoot some dogs. You're like, what?
Yeah. So if you're like me and you didn't really enjoy the first game, even though I'm enjoying this second one a lot more, I would still struggle to tell somebody like that to pick this up at full price at $70. Because I do feel like, because, I'll be honest with you, because it's not as weird as I thought, I'm kind of losing interest in it. Because it really has just turned into this loop of go to point A to point B, get rated, get your stuff, do it again.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's the first one too. Is it's not particularly weird except when you get to kind of the big story checkpoints. I'm sure when Troy Baker shows up, it's going to be weird for about 10 minutes, and then you're going to go right back to delivering UPS packages.
Actually wasn't that weird either.
The first game was like that too.
Yeah.
And mostly it's not necessarily weird so much as you just don't understand what's going on because the game is told so backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's check in with you guys and see what you guys are saying about Death Stranding 2. I'm sure a bunch of you guys have been playing it already and had a chance.
I like it. I do like it. I think the people saying it's Game of the Year contender are out of their minds.
I would never give it Game of the Year.
I mean, I would give it maybe best tech, best graphics. It's in the conversation for sure. But like in terms of best game, like in a year with Expedition 33 and Split Fiction, no. Like I don't know what else to tell
It's
you.
so funny. People are freaking out over the stream went to dark for like a second. And the chat's like, oh my God, fade out. Get a grip, guys. Seriously?
Well, sometimes in streams it just means it's gone forever.
Well, the TriCaster, if we have it set up the way it is right now, we're using a bunch of elements, and the clip runs out, it fades to black.
Right.
So if I'm not paying attention 100% because I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing while I'm hosting a podcast, which is run a TriCaster, sometimes I don't notice that the clip runs out and it dips to black for a second. Deal with it. Get a grip.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Anyway.
Back when I used to run the TriCast.
Yeah. Oh, the good old days when I could just sit and talk and not have to do crazy crap that people get paid a lot of money to do while I'm hosting a podcast. I'd like to see anybody else do that. Let's see what anyone else is saying about Death Stranding. Annie T. Monahan, having shortcuts built by other players help make those later parts of the first game easier to digest. Yeah. Noxiatornitis, the asymmetrical stuff is by far the most interesting part of the game. Retro Modern Gamer, yes, I get that too. Shane, there are weird fades to...
we just went over
it happened twice. Literally, it happened twice.
It's a void out. That is a void out.
That is kind of funny, actually. And it was right around when you were talking about the void outs. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone gets weird. You guys are so... It's like, talk about the game. Like, what the hell? It's so weird. No one's talking about the game. Okay. So I guess I shouldn't have gone to chat. You're too fixated on the screen going to black for half a second.
How many people have played it?
What?
I'm curious how many people have played it.
It doesn't look like anyone's played it.
The sales are way down.
No one's talking about it.
The sales are 66% down
really?
in the UK charts from physical copies.
I didn't see that, actually.
The sales of the first one, I mean, it's still number one on the UK charts, but it's 66% less than the first one. However, again, it's physical games, physical copies. That's obviously a different world now.
Yeah.
I even saw some people that are like, I never buy digital copies, and I bought a digital copy of this because I live in the UK and I literally couldn't find anywhere selling it.
Wow.
Physical. So it may have nothing to do with the health of the sales of the game. It may just be that everybody's had to switch to digital because that's just the world we live in, which feels like maybe that's partly what the game is talking about with the subtlety of a sledgehammer.
I mean, it looks like nobody got it because nobody's talking about it. Literally, no one's saying anything about the game. This is crazy.
Also, I wonder, there has to be some level of, in terms of people who played the first game, kind of being like, well, fooled me once, shame on me, but you're not going to get me for $70 on the second one.
Yeah. Yeah, no one's talking about the game at all. So has anyone bought it? Can anybody in either of these chats say that they have bought
Has
the
anyone
game?
actually played it?
Yeah, has anyone played it? This is crazy. I can't believe this. It's Hideo Kojima's new game. Akuma MVC2, I bought my copy and would love to play it, but my PS5 keeps overheating. Well, this is definitely not the game you want to play if your PS5 is overheating.
This will definitely end that for you. Yeah, it won't overheat anymore because it won't turn on anymore.
Look, no interest. Game doesn't interest me. But I guarantee you, when this episode goes up on YouTube, people are going to rail us because we said anything negative about it. It's so bizarre.
Never played it, don't even have a PS5. I mean, only being on PS5 is maybe a little bit of an issue, but...
Threadzilla bought it, played it for 4 hours, and I think I've seen all I need to see. Woo. I mean...
Yeah.
Again, once you kind of get into the gameplay loop and you figure out that that's what you're going to be doing, there's not a lot of deviation. You're kind of waiting for the boss fights or for a major cutscene to happen. Because it is the same thing. You're riding your mount, whichever mount you have, across rocky terrain. You're dropping stuff, you're picking it up, you're repairing it. And then you're fighting a couple enemies here or there that you run into. And it's kind of the same thing over and over again. The terrain changes a little bit over time, but...
I was interested until it came out that Slagathor says I was interested until it came out that Kojima intentionally made the game worse because testers were having too much fun.
Yeah.
So I actually read that interview. Yeah. That's not what happened. That's being reported very sideways.
Oh, really?
What he said, he's talking about the story. He's talking about tweaks they made to the story because people were enjoying it too much and he wanted to make them uncomfortable with the story. He's not talking about gameplay there. Nothing in that interview. At no point is he talking about the game mechanics or anything like that. He's talking about the story was too agreeable to people, and he wants the story to make people uncomfortable.
Okay.
That's what that was.
Well, again, I don't think this game is anywhere near as weird as I thought it was going to be. Like, even so, eventually, I have seen Troy Baker, and even his introduction isn't all that weird.
I mean, it's a little weird if you know what happens to him at the end of the first one.
Well, they show you what happens at the end of the first one. They flash back real fast and kind of show you, just give you the frame of reference for him.
There's also a recap of the first game in the menu of this one.
Yeah.
Which is very incomplete.
Yeah.
Like, at the end, there's like, Sam learned the secret of the Death Star. I'm like, that's a way to put that, I guess. Like, why are you hiding that information? Like,
man, I can't believe that no one in our chat has played the game.
Yeah,
it's been out for like 4 or 5 days.
It's a very interesting...
Are you not surprised at that?
Not really.
No?
I have always believed these are niche titles. I mean, I know the first one
sold
sold really well,
didn't it?
But it was, I think, because it just looked like something different, and it was. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is something different. There is nothing else like this game.
Yeah, that's true.
Out there.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's a reason
for that.
That things are are singular.
Mm-hmm.
It does not surprise me at all if you played the first game and decided to pass on this one.
And after you listen to me talk about it, someone who did not like the first one, you're probably going to pass.
Yeah.
I mean, and
I probably would have
if
we weren't doing this show. I mean, I am enjoying this one well enough.
I enjoy it way more than the first one.
Yeah, 100%. I would have preferred to wait until it was maybe half price.
Yeah.
But I'm super impressed by the again.
It's a quality product.
Absolutely,
the craftsmanship is impeccable and all that. It's just whether you like it.
It is the AAA game's AAA game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know how much it cost.
Yeah.
But it just, again, I know that every time the story starts up, I'm just get on with it. I've not skipped more. The dialogue in this game is interminable and unbearable at times. It's just so slow.
Ryuga Hibiki says, I'd rather play RE9. I think everybody would rather play RE9.
I would certainly rather play Resident Evil 9.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
But I mean, I wouldn't call this disappointing. Like, if you like the first Death Stranding, this is great. Like,
I think this is exactly what you would want from a follow-up to something. It's more of the same, but it's better, and it's higher quality presentation and higher quality design and higher quality everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's except the writing, because it's the same guy.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten deep into the meat of the storytelling in this game enough to say, but coming off of the end of Death Stranding 1, God, he's terrible at it's just so bad.
There's no one to tell him no.
It's so bad.
It's just like when it came out that like he put all these cameos and all these weird things in the game, and his developers were like, I don't know.
Even the core of the idea that some weird thing happens and the dead return, like the core of the concept of the world is not bad. It's just
it's fine.
Everything's just the most pretentious bullshit mixed with the most like goofy
tedious
nonsense and the most tedious exposition.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I supposed to grab onto? And there's no humanity to any of it.
We used to do one-word reviews on Invisible Walls at Game Trailers, and my one-word review for this would be tedious. If I had to use one word to describe the game, that's the word that I would use.
Yeah, I mean, but again, I think that would be my one-word review of the first game.
Yeah.
And this,
not quite as tedious.
That's not hyphens. One word. It's like...
If there's hyphens, is it one word?
I guess my one-word review of the first game is tedious.
Yeah.
My one-word review of this game is, oh.
All right.
It's pleasantly surprising.
Yeah. Retro Modern Gamer says, I'm more ready for a Kojima sneaking game on the horizon.
It tries to make you
I'll
sneak.
be honest, it does feel a little bit like Metal Gear 6 at times.
Yeah,
but you're walking around with this big pile of crap on your back. It's so
the
weird.
caveat is like, clearly you don't get these two games without Metal Gear Solid 5.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
But I cannot emphasize how much better Metal Gear Solid 5 feels to play at all times.
Yep. Agreed. Yep.
The gun, if you could somehow if for whatever reason could have transplanted the gunplay from Metal Gear Solid 5 into Death Stranding 2,
it was fine.
Then we might be talking about Game of the Year material.
Yeah.
If I could find a way to ignore the god-awful story. But, like, it's not. It's just not that. Like I am thinking about my reticle way too often in this game for it to be
Well, I can't see it a lot of times, too.
Yeah.
It, like, disappears in the back. Like, they just don't understand core tenets
of
shooter gameplay.
Well, they have added, so if you're at the edge of cover, you can pop out now with the L2 button. but if you're undercover, like wayside cover, you can't pop up. And I'm like, why?
There's the whole gunplay in this, as somebody who plays a metric ton of shooters, is just insane.
So I find myself doing the thing where I'm like, okay, I want to shoot over the wayside cover, but I can't pop up, so I'm going to kind of back up and angle my way around so that his gun sort of pops over the side, and then I wait for it to target the guy's head and shoot him in the head. And then, why does everything slow down when you kill someone?
I thought maybe I had a special attachment on my weapon that I didn't know I had attached.
I mean, that happens in the first game, too.
Oh.
But
I don't remember that.
When you KO someone, it goes into slow-mo for a second, and I'm like, that might be useful for then like rotating the camera to like see your next enemy or to get your bearings or to know where you're aim at the next. But you slow down too. Like the whole thing, everything's.
I've actually
it's not
had
an
to go
advantage
to slow-mo,
to you.
and the guy didn't die, so it's not like 100% death when that happens. I shot a guy, hit him with like 3 shells. It went into slow motion. I let off the gun because I'm like, oh, he's dead, and nope, he just pulled it up and started shooting me again. So
that
it's
shouldn't
not
be happening.
It's not 100%. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe it was the only glitch I saw in the game. But otherwise, code's clean, game looks great, runs great. If you like this design, the gameplay from the first one, you're probably going to love this one. If you were somebody who was on the fence about the last one, maybe you liked a little bit of it, it's really hard for me to recommend buying it at full price still. It just is. It's still very similar to the first one.
This isn't going to change your mind about Death Stranding. It's the same game. It's the same game, just a little better.
If you're PlayStation, do you greenlight Death Stranding 3?
Depends on what the sales were.
I mean, just based upon the information we have now, would you greenlight it?
I don't know. I mean, I can't judge the sales based on physical sales from one country, even if they are much lower, because that might just be how. I mean, again, the first game was 2019.
Yeah.
That was an eternity ago.
In this industry, that is an eternity. For sure.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I do think the fact that they haven't bragged about anything yet probably indicates that it is not exactly
setting the world on
charts.
fire. Yeah. Yep. Well, anyway, there you go. That's Death Stranding 2. Look, I'm not trying to make you guys feel guilty. I'm really surprised that people just haven't played it.
Oh, and the music's good.
Music's great. Oh, we didn't even talk about the music. The soundtrack is amazing. Like, I would buy the soundtrack and listen to the soundtrack.
I would absolutely let Kojima send me his Spotify playlist.
Right in my wheelhouse. I like a lot of the groups that are in it. The songs are great, but it doesn't fit the game.
No, just like the first game where Sam Bridges, for some reason, is the world's biggest low roar fan.
Well, it's just like things that make people happy make him sad. Like, it's like you come over the horizon, you're like, oh my god, there it is, the base. I just traveled 10 miles through sand and fought all these enemies, and there's the base. And then they'll play some melancholy-ass song.
Melancholy emo song about death.
It's just like,
as I stumble down the mountain, barely keeping my balance to deliver a porcelain vase to some guy I've never met.
And it's playing the saddest song you've ever heard. It's like, it's great. The soundtrack is awesome. The bands are great. The songs are great. It does not fit the game.
I mean, it's very good. It is very good music to listen to while you stand out in rain by yourself, in rain that ages you.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't seem like something Sam would listen to.
Well, what he's done is he and I have identical taste in music, basically. He's a huge Slow Dive fan, so am I. Like, we like the same music, but he can't help himself. He's like, I love this music. I want other people to love it. And I get it. Like, I listen to niche underground music. And when you do that, you always want to feel vindicated in a way. You want other people to be like, that's actually good. I can't believe it's underground. Yeah. And he's just trying to just force feed his taste onto everybody.
Even more so, because now there's one of the people you deliver to in this is called the musician.
Right.
And he's literally, every time you deliver shit, he's like, here's a new song. Go listen to it. Really go listen to it. I'm just like, fuck you. I'm never opening the music players purely out of spite for how heavy-handed you are about this. And then you get back to your fucking private room, and Doll Man is hanging on the wall after you wake up, after watching you sleep for 9 hours, and you get up and he's like, Sam, I'd really like to hear your playlist. It's
like, bro, I just woke up.
I saw you have so-and-so by this. It's such a great song. What an amazing... I'm like, dude, why are you sitting here? Why did you put in a character specifically designed to glaze your own fucking playlist?
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I mean,
so
you know
weird.
why.
I mean, of course you know why. Same reason he's...
Same reason he does everything. So anyway, there you go. That's Death Stranding 2.
Did you also see that, like, there's a Kojima Productions reference in the game? Where one of the characters is like, oh my god, Sam, you've never heard of the fabled Kojima Productions?
No,
they made the best video. That's later in the game.
I probably just skipped over it.
That could have been too. But no, there's a character who just talks up Kojima Productions to Sam as like the last like basically a fabled game producer from before the Death Stranding, and it's just like, what kind of ego is required to do? Like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Even if it's tongue in cheek, it's not
too much.
100% tongue in cheek. Anyway, we'll see you at the Game Awards for this one, because this sucker's getting nominated.
Oh yeah.
So.
I mean, we'll probably talk about this again next week, because there's not a big, huge game coming out in the next week.
And worked out real well for your fantasy team.
Yeah. Is it a 9?
It's a 91 right now.
Is
I
it?
think. Yeah.
I'll take it. I was hoping for an 86. So at this point, it's probably going to stick around that 9.
No, it's like 111 reviews. That's what it is.
All right.
You got a 90 at
I'll
least.
take
out
it,
of
man.
That.
That was what, my 7th pick? 6th pick, maybe?
It's 5th or 6th. Yeah.
I'll take that.
I mean, it's not as good as my 10th.
No. That's never going to be beaten, man. That's not going to happen.
I did some math on the fantasy thing, because a lot of yours aren't out yet.
Yeah.
But I did some calculations. It's going to be real
close.
I
know it is. It's going to be the best one ever.
It's going to be like 5 points
away
from me, I think.
It's going to be exciting.
Very close.
To see how it all comes down. Obviously, losing Grand Theft Auto. It's huge.
Yeah. So that's replaced with Atomfall, which is just like a 74 or something like that. So it's much more. If GTA had come out, you'd be dead.
I would have lost.
But it's a much more even play field now.
It's going to be crazy. All right, well, there you go. That's Death Stranding 2. We'll probably talk about it next week as well. I'll probably keep playing it only because I don't see anything over the next week.
Not much else to play, yeah.
Yeah, but there's other games on my backlog I wouldn't mind finishing, and I'm thinking about it. I'll put it to you that way. Okay. Before we get on to our next topic, which is the Capcom Spotlight that just happened last week, showing off Resident Evil Requiem, we have the word from our brand new sponsor. Here it is.
Cracked phone screen, stuck zipper, busted bike, borked HDMI port, persnickety PlayStation? Don't toss it, boss it with the Repair app. The mission is to build a world where repair is the norm, not the exception. Snap a pic, describe the issue, and find local pros ready to fix it fast. It's not a marketplace, it's a movement that saves your stuff, your sanity, and the planet. No fees, no credit cards, no data collection, no stress. Just fast and fabulous fixes. Track your items and the repairs, log warranties, build a repair history, and become the hero your stuff deserves. Fight landfill guilt, save some cash, and support local business all at the same time. And best of all, it's free. Join the Repair app waiting list today at therepair.app and be among the first to get access. Fix it, keep it, repeat, because trash is so last century.
So I just want to say that we have been so fortunate here at SIFTD to literally have every sponsor be something that we are willing to support. I get emails all the time in my inbox because my email address is connected to our YouTube channel of people asking us to put like hemorrhoid donuts or just the most random things in GameFace. And I keep turning them down and counting on real sponsors that we want to work with coming online instead. And that is exactly what happened with this sponsor, the Repair app. I personally am dealing with something right now. Also, I just saw today that Texas just passed a right to repair law. And that is happening all over the United States. Because for a long time, people were making electronics that you could not repair. And they want you to just throw them away and buy the new version. And right now, I'm going through that a little bit with my iPhone. I have an iPhone 12. And I'm sure you're laughing. Someone's like, oh, he's got an iPhone 12. That thing's ancient. It is. But it does everything I need it to do. It does a billion things I will never ask it to do. But the battery is dying. It is now to the point where I wake up in the morning and by 2 p.m. it's dead.
That has always been the thing that has made me buy a new iPhone.
Right.
Is it can no longer hold a charge the whole day.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm fine with this phone. It does more than I would ever need.
Yeah, it's not slow. It's fine. But if it can't stay awake all day, then it's useless to me.
And I do work from home, so I can just sit there with my phone plugged in. But like lately, I've been out and about a lot more, and I've noticed my phone is dead at like 2 p.m. And this fixes that. The Repair app is all about changing that. As these laws are coming online in all these different states where they have to make things in a way that they can be fixed, that's where the Repair app comes in. It's really a cool idea. Go to the repair.app, sign up there, you'll get an alert. You'll be one of the first people to get involved. And the cool thing about it all is that you're helping people locally. You're helping your local repair stores because they get connected. You basically just take a picture of your problem, give a quick description, upload it to the app, and immediately all the repair centers in your local area are alerted to your issue, and they come back and tell you, I can fix that, I can't fix that, here's a quote. It is a brilliant idea that is going to save so much e-waste. The other thing too, Matt, I don't know if people realize this, there is so much clothing waste. Like that store, I think it's called Forever 21.
Yeah.
They started this trend of like, hey, buy this trendy thing for $18 and it's a piece of crap and you'll wear it 5 times and it will fall apart, but that's okay. It only costs $18.
Yeah, well, fast fashion.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And what's happening now is we are sending literally tons of clothes that we have abandoned to like Uganda. It's horrible. There's these people living in a village.
The only thing that should happen with is the Super Bowl losers.
Right. Which you always see, like kids in Africa with the losing Super Bowl t-shirt. That's always funny. But literally there's these tribes in Uganda where there's their tribe is here, and then there's a mountain of our clothes sitting next to them just rotting away. The repair app can fix all that. Don't throw out a pair of jeans.
Even they know Forever 21 is not something to wear if you can help it.
Seriously. Anyway, the repair app is trying to fix all that. It is a company that you'll feel great about supporting, just like I feel great about them supporting us. So go to the repair.app. Right now, all you can do is sign up so that you get alerted when they're ready to launch. And once it does, let's hit the ground running. Go to the repair.app, sign up, and over time, our sponsorship here on GameFace is going to change. Once they move past the user acquisition stage, then they're going to start promoting their product, and we'll start talking a little bit more about the nuts and bolts of the repair app. But what's there already is awesome. Go to the repair.app, sign up. It's cool the different like URLs you can use now. I didn't even know there was a .app that you could use. But anyway, go to the repair.app, sign up, and you hit the ground running when they're ready to launch. All right. It's time to move on to the Capcom Spotlight, which basically was Capcom's not E3 2025 press event. Like I said, Bandai Namco's is tomorrow. Capcom's happened last week. It wasn't as big as I thought. What I think we discovered, Matt, is that Capcom came into this June period, whatever you want to call it, and was like, we have 2 things we want to promote for it. And that's Pragmata, and that's Resident Evil Requiem. So they did the stuff with Jeff, and then they did their own thing where they kind of blew those games out on a grander scale. So we got a new look at Resident Evil Requiem. They showed the first ever gameplay, actual gameplay, showing you what you do while you're playing of Resident Evil Requiem. And they put out this huge developer interview where they kind of explained a bunch of stuff about the game. There was a short one that they put in their presentation, and then later on at Capcom.com, there was like a longer 15-minute version of that where they added a lot more context. We watched both of them, and we have the information for both, so you guys don't have to do the legwork, although we also curated both of those on SIFTD, so if you want to just go watch them for yourself, you can. Basically, the whole concept behind this game was addictive fear. The developers feel that you get catharsis from getting over your fears, and that can create an addiction. I was like, okay. It's so funny how Japanese developers look at game development compared to Western developers. Like, they come up with like a theme or a concept or an idea and start from that.
Whether it makes any sense or not.
Right. But it is interesting how they make games. And the reason...
I didn't expect the theme to Resident Evil 9 to be the same as the theme of Point Break.
Well, here's the thing. So, a lot of people think that Leon is going to either be a playable character or actually is the main... They kind of put that to rest in this because they were hearing the rumors. They also put to rest...
Or they're lying.
They also put to rest the rumors that it's an open world game. So
Yeah,
they said that they experimented with the online games and open world games and they could not get it to work right. And actually, that's what they showed right there, the perfect timing. So anyway, this is a typically designed Resident Evil
I think
game.
Leon will show up at some point.
Well, their excuse for why Leon is not in this game
Well, they said this is the reason that he's not the playable character.
is they said that he's not scared of anything.
Right.
And this whole game is set up around Grace being terrified.
Yeah, to be fair, he does sort of no-sell shit. Even in 4, he's sort of like, all right.
Oh, well, whatever.
Yeah, he's like, it's just me and my jacket and my haircut.
And because they want this game to be all about fear, they feel like Leon won't work because he's not afraid.
Right, but I think he will work as a supporting character.
Right.
Because I think one of the best ways to highlight her in that regard is to bring in him for a period of time who's not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
Like that, he's a foil to him, her then.
And
However, also I was very disturbed to find out that he will be 51 in this game.
Wow. He doesn't look 51.
Well, the last time we saw him, he was a lot young. He was like 36.
Yeah.
Because the last time we saw him was 16 years before that. Because this takes place in 2030.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And so the last time we saw him was Resident Evil 6, and that was, what, 2011?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of been a while.
Yeah. And you can see in this B-roll the jump from first person to third person. Obviously, she has a Zippo lighter. That's a big part of the mechanics of the game. You need to use that to generate light.
Which is very funny because I will always associate that with that terrible Alone in the Dark remake.
Yeah.
Which is obsessed with setting things on fire for no reason.
That's right. I forgot about that. And you also see glimpses of the Nemesis mechanic in this, too. That you have that creature that's constantly chasing you throughout the entire game.
And let's not forget the sweat mechanic,
right,
which is built into the Resident Evil engine at this point.
Sweat and crying. They said that that's a big part of the game, is the fear on her face, the crying, the sweating. Again, they said that that's why Grace was their pick for this, because she's not a field agent. She's used to sitting in the office as a paper
which is clearly why you send her into Raccoon City.
But at least they do try to portray her realistically once she does get into the cut. She's terrified, and that's a big mechanic in the game, is managing how scared she is and not being too loud so that enemies know where you are. That creature that follows you around can't follow you if you're not being loud and whimpering and crying.
I'm also impressed with the light through her hair.
Yeah, they talked a lot about her hair for some reason and how they worked really hard on it. They literally spent like a minute in this presentation talking about her hair.
Hair tech is kind of like the cutting edge of things for some people right now. And frankly, everyone's playing catch up with Dragon Age Veilguard because that is the best hair I've ever seen.
You're right. Yeah. So they said that they put a lot of effort into her reactions, the physics of her hair, because the way she tosses her hair obviously can impart emotion to the player. Yes, 30. So this is set 30 years after the missile strike at the end of RE3. That's that big divot that you're seeing in the B-roll, the missile strike from the third game. They said it was tough to find the story for this game. Well, because the original outbreak,
you're on 9.
Because they said the outbreak now has affected so many players that they have to be very careful that they're not stepping on other things that games have done that won't make sense and won't be congruent with this game.
Yes, congruency, the hallmark of Resident Evil.
The game is still scheduled to come out on February 27th. It will be the 30-year anniversary of the franchise, which is perfect timing. I don't know when we're getting more on this, though. They didn't really say. So my guess is, it's coming out in February. We should start getting promotional media for this pretty regularly in the very near future. So, but again, it's not open world. There's no online components. It is a traditional single-player Resident Evil game that may or may not star Leon, but definitely stars Grace. And fear is kind of the whole theme of the game. So they said that they want Grace to be just as scared as the player while playing this game. And so that's why they spent so much time working on her reactions to all the crazy stuff that happens in the game.
Well, they said it said it'd be playable at Gamescom. So I would.
Really?
That's what I heard.
Oh, really? Because I know Pragmata was going to be.
I think they both will be.
Oh, well, that does make sense. It should be.
Which means I would maybe expect some kind of demo by Christmas.
They let the press play it at not E3. Or a very select few of the press got to play it. Most people watched them play it. But a few press members did get to actually put their hands on it.
I feel like whatever they show at Gamescom, I think they'll
put out
a demo for the public in sometime in the fall, I would think.
Probably so. But anyway, there you go. That's the latest on Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Again, coming February 27th to PC, PS5, Xbox Series. Still wondering about Switch 2.
I'm not.
You don't think it'll happen?
I don't care.
Yeah, okay. But people do care.
Once you said PC, I'm done. I don't know why. Why would you?
Else, you don't
have
hear
you
anything.
Seen that footage? Why would you want to play that on the weakest console? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Look, there's a lot of people who just have Nintendo consoles or whatever.
I guess, but
they'd be pretty excited to get RE9
do better.
day and date. Yeah, look, we always say buy the consoles and buy the exclusive games for each console. So that's not anything new here at GameFace. But anyway, there you go. That's the latest on Resident Evil Requiem. And then the other game that they showed off was the first ever gameplay for Pragmata, which is this crazy, dual protagonist puzzle adventure third-person shooter.
I cannot get past how much she reminds me of Mega Man.
Oh, really?
She's blue. She has a little Mega Buster thing.
You're not the only one.
She keeps making me think of Mega Man.
I curate. So I read every story from every publication, and there was 2 publications that mentioned that people thought it was a Mega Man game. So you're not alone.
Mega Man in the same way that Pac-Man game is a Pac-Man. Shadow
Labyrinth.
Yeah. Not really, but it's I don't know, man.
She's an android.
Look at her, and look at her face. She looks like Mega Man with long hair.
She does, yeah. And she is an android. Basically, what happens with this game is that you're at a lunar research station. You're trying to find this new material that's needed to 3D print anything, from microchips to cars to houses and buildings. All the humans are gone, and all that's left is AI. And so you are paired up with this android girl. Her name is Diana. And she...
The goddess of the hunt.
Yeah. I think her type of android is called a Pragmata. I think that's where the name comes from. I think that's like the name that they've given them. But then obviously she doesn't have a name. In this whole B-roll, it goes through how she doesn't have a name, and you talk to her and you're like, well, you need a name, so how about I call you Diana? And she's like, okay, and that's just where the name comes from. And then the whole idea is that Capcom wants you to have this connection with her, with Diana. And they want you to come away from the game believing that she was an android with a heart.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're sent to investigate the lunar base to look for this crazy resource. Diana actually saves you, and that's where your relationship starts. You're about to die. She comes in and saves you. You give her name, and off you go on this adventure. Now, the way the gameplay works, and you're seeing it right now, it's a mix of a puzzle game and an action game. So every skirmish starts off with her playing this like sliding tile puzzle mini game, basically, that pops up on the screen. And there are blue nodes in that puzzle thing. And if you send the commands through those puzzle nodes, it increases her attacks. And her attacks don't actually hurt the enemies. It takes off their armor. And if you use those little blue zones in the puzzle interface, it takes off the armor for longer, which gives you more time to then shoot the armor off of the enemies and shoot the enemies. So the puzzle ties into how much time you will have as the human to attack the enemies and shoot them. And so it's a nice little mix there between puzzle and the combat.
It's like if you had to do the pipe puzzle before you fought a Big Daddy every time.
I mean, that's kind of what it is, honestly.
Because it also has some Bioshock vibes.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. There's also traversal in this. You have like little boosters on your feet that you can jump and like do little like rocket boosts, and that's a big part of it, figuring out sort of the environmental puzzles. What else did they say? Yeah, this is for sure playable at Gamescom 2025, so we're going to get a big update on that in the very near future in August from Germany. But yeah, that's pretty much all they shared. They just put out this little 2-minute trailer that kind of explains how the combat works and said that they'll be at Gamescom and that it's coming in 2026. This at one time I thought this game was just vaporware. Also, they mentioned that the hair tech from this is what they brought over into RE9. That they developed it first for Diana in this game, and then they brought it over into Resident Evil for Grace.
I will note from the chat, Fire Native saying like Raccoon City would be highly radioactive. No, it wouldn't. If you skyburst it, because you'll notice people can live in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah, it's like nothing ever happened.
Like
there.
if the explosion isn't in the ground, if it's an airburst, like it actually doesn't remain radioactive for that long. So Raccoon City could very theoretically could be very. Well, not very livable because it's probably still full of zombies. Good job nuking it, morons. Yeah. But, like, no, that's actually... 30 years is enough time to go. It's not like Chernobyl.
Yeah. Yeah, because Chernobyl is still dangerous.
Chernobyl, so but you can visit Chernobyl.
Yeah.
You just don't go in that building.
Right.
But, like...
And don't stay there very long.
No, you have to carry a Geiger meter and, change your... I mean, you do have to go through a lot of precautions.
Yeah.
But it won't kill you.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you're probably, Grace is not wearing the proper gear for that.
No, definitely not.
But no, again, 30 years later, people were obviously living in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It is possible.
What do you think of this game, Matt?
I'm interested.
Are you?
It does look very strange.
Yeah.
But like it at least looks interesting strange.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a couple of the games that were in the Capcom 5. That group of 5 games that were supposed to be exclusive to the GameCube, and like I think one of them never came out. Dead Phoenix never came out.
Dead Phoenix never came out.
But Piano 3 did.
Piano 3 did, and never... That was the only one that didn't get ported anywhere else because nobody liked it.
Because it's kind of weird. It had weird combat, kind of like this.
Well, the weird thing about Piano 5? Piano 3?
It was Piano 3,
Piano 3 was... it was mostly just... She just shook her ass.
She did like acrobatics while she fought. And would do cartwheels.
It was a rhythm game.
Yeah.
Which is mostly an excuse for her to tilt her hips all the time.
And show her butt, yeah.
And then...
that was kind of it.
That kind of stopped, yeah.
I'm getting kind of Piano 3 vibes from this game a little bit.
I don't know about that.
It's like this very niche, strange concept.
Piano 3's thing was like it wasn't really a full game.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't really run around too much.
I thought it was going to be canceled too, honestly.
It probably should have been.
Mm-hmm. But they made the deal.
I would argue this reminds me more of Vanquish.
Yeah, it reminds me of that too. Yeah.
It reminds me of a lot of things. It reminds me of Vanquish. Reminds me of Mega Man. It reminds me of Dead Space. It reminds me of BioShock. Like it just goes on and on. It reminds me of a lot of things, but I don't know what it is necessarily. I'm interested. I'll try
me too.
it.
I'm always anything new, different. I'm in there.
Yeah,
I want to check it out. We'll see.
How it turns
out.
Capcom gets experimental, either they come up with something that's like really pretty amazing, or they come up with something that after 5 minutes I'm like done.
I mean, Kunitsugami. I just love that Capcom is like, man, we're rolling in the money. We're gonna do some vanity projects here.
Well, because
you may like them, you may not, but who cares?
Well, because remember the other thing that came out of the GameCube 5 was Beautiful Joe,
right?
Which was also kind of unlike anything else.
Yep.
And
that's why I said this game reminds me of that whole set of games, other than the Resident Evil stuff that was a part of that. Dead Phoenix, Piano 3, and then the two Resident Evil games, the remake.
Resident Evil 4. Remake wasn't one of those.
I thought remake was part of the Capcom 5.
It wasn't. They were all new. They were all new games.
Interesting.
It was that and Beautiful Joe and another one.
Piano 3, Dead Phoenix. Was Okami?
Was it Okami?
I don't think it
was.
That
was PS1. That was PS2.
That was PS2. Yeah.
No, there was a fifth.
I thought for sure RE remake was part of it.
Wasn't a remake.
Huh.
It was another weird one.
Maybe someone in
Killer 7.
Chat.
That's what it was.
Killer 7. Yeah, that's right. Yep. So you're right. It was all 5 original games, new games, and most of them ended up being pretty good.
Yeah.
I think Dead Phoenix was the one I was most interested in, though.
I was interested in Dead. I did not like Piano 5. I never got the hang of Killer 7.
Oh, really?
I just never. I bounced off that.
It was
game
all style
4
and
or
very
5
little
times.
substance. Yeah.
And I'm not good at Beautiful Joe, but I appreciate what it's doing.
Oh wait, what was the Mad World one? The monochromatic, crazy, violent game.
That was on the Wii.
Was that the Wii?
And that was Sega.
What was that game?
Mad World.
Mad World. Yeah. Was that Sega that published that?
Yeah.
But that was Grasshopper that made it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that was Sega on the Wii.
Yeah. Also a Nintendo exclusive.
Never been on anything else.
It's crazy. So anyway, there you go. That's the latest on Pragmata. We just took a trip down memory road there. Although I think some of you guys really enjoy when we do that. I do feel like that's something that sets our podcast apart, is that we actually have context for the stuff that we're talking about because we lived through it.
Right. Well, the games we just mentioned are older than a lot of the people that host the other podcasts. So.
And somebody, you know what? There's somebody right now talking about Pragmata, and their video is going to do 500,000 views.
I know someone who just got a new retirement fund thing for his job.
Yeah.
And it's like the whole email about it. He sent it to me because he's like, I have not felt this old. It's talking about this. Basically, it's talking about if you intend to access your bank account that's involved in this retirement fund on or after 2073, and if you were born on or after 2009. You're going to want to use this. And I'm like,
yeah.
I guess that's just insert the Matt Damon turning into the old guy at the end of Saving Private Ryan there.
Okay, and then they showed a bunch of other stuff. They did show Kunitsugami. They're doing a bunch of special stuff for its 1-year anniversary, which I think is cool because the game didn't sell, but Capcom is still supporting it, which is 100% Capcom.
I mean, they got paid by Microsoft.
Yeah, another reason I love Capcom.
And I did like that game.
Me too.
I didn't actually finish it. But
I didn't finish it either. I got close. I played it a long time. Yeah, so it's good. And so they're doing a thing for the 1-year anniversary of that. And then the final thing that we probably care about and our audience cares about is they finally showed Sagat for Street Fighter 6. I hate what they've done with Sagat.
Well, they did show him
over time.
They showed him at one of the tournaments.
Yeah, you're right. They put out a teaser trailer.
They put a teaser for the whole season, and he was at the end. He was the only one they had gameplay of.
Yeah,
he's the first one.
And this is like a whole trailer just for Sagat. I honestly hardly even recognize him anymore. What they've done with him at this point, like. Some of the characters I'm fine with how they've changed over time. Sagat is not one of them.
I mean, he still plays the same.
Yeah.
He's just wearing a lot of crap.
Yeah, he just looks completely different, and just the whole tone of who he is just feels like it's completely changed from the OG days. But
well, he's not a big skinny weirdo anymore. He definitely bulked up circa Street Fighter 4.
Because he's carrying big logs around. That's why.
Yeah.
He can't get
because he got his ass kicked by some little dude, and now he just can't get over it.
But you're right. I mean, he's a Muay Thai fighter. Is that right?
Yeah, he's I mean, ostensibly,
close enough. Yeah.
And apparently he got some work done on the jaw. That working out doesn't give you that. I don't know if you know that.
Only plastic surgery will do that.
It's also funny that all this crazy shit exists in the Street Fighter world, and like no one can give him a new like bionic eye.
Yeah.
Like aren't there like artificial people in this fucking world? And like, just give the man binocular vision again. Come on.
I mean, I just hate how the characters look in this game in general.
Well, those are the world tour like characters.
They just look so bad. Like, you signed off on that look, but it does not look good. But anyway, Sagat is coming, and what's his release date? August 5th or something like that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere
sounds
around
about
there.
right. That's the couple days after Evo. So
yeah,
that would track.
No, actually, so Street Fighter 6 Sagat August 5th launch, but then there's like a fighting pass that launches July 4th where you can start getting some related gear.
Yeah, the ultimate pass is already up.
Yeah,
for the new season.
But
like,
he won't be playable until August 5th.
It's him and Ingrid and
a bunch of sexy costumes.
Oh no, that's season 2. Never mind.
There's a bunch of swimsuit costumes for existing playable characters.
Him and Ingrid
well.
And I don't remember who the other 2 people are.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Aki.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think she's already in the game.
No, well, she gets a swimsuit. She's one of the people who gets a swimsuit.
Okay,
Chun-Li gets one.
I mean the new characters.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I think it's just Sagat.
No, it's 4.
Oh, there's 4?
It's the new season. They showed them at the
Oh,
the
you're right.
CEO or the Capcom Cup thing.
You're right. Yep.
It was Sagat. Ingrid is the first time she's shown up since Capcom Fighting Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 other characters who I can't remember.
Maybe check
Alex
and something that
Sea Viper.
Twitch is censoring. Sea Viper, Ingrid, Alex, and Sagat. By Mindex, thank you. Appreciate that. So anyway, there you go. That's the Capcom Spotlight. That was basically Capcom's E3 2025 press event. Really just showed 2 big games and a bunch of other little stuff. And then they covered Monster Hunter for like an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. They really think that people love every element of that game.
Which clearly isn't. I mean, Wilds has sort of dropped off.
It's getting hammered on Steam.
Yeah.
Like its user reviews on Steam are at like rock bottom, and Capcom is in like scramble mode trying to save it because it's a cash cow.
Yeah,
they need to make money off Monster Hunter for the next like 5 years.
You gotta nail that end game.
They I think I was exaggerating before, but they literally spent like 30 minutes on free title update 2 for Monster Hunter Wild. Okay. I mean, I get it, but man, I just turned it off. After 5 minutes, I was like, I don't care. Like, I played this game for 40 hours. I still don't care. But there's a lot of people who will keep playing it for like 40 years. So I understand why Capcom did it, but it just kind of ended the whole thing with a thud. They should have kept Resident Evil for the end, but
Well, I appreciate putting Monster Hunter at the end because then I can just go do
you
something
can leave
else.
and all the fans who care can stay and watch. Maybe you're right. Maybe that was the right tact.
And hey, maybe that could be counted as metrics for you there, Capcom.
Yeah, that's true. All right, there you go. That's the Capcom Spotlight for June 2025. Next up, I promised it in last week's episode that we're going to talk about it this week, and here we are. We're going to talk about Peak, which is this crazy first-person climbing cooperative game that you play with other people, and I didn't realize that when I bought it. It's $7, which is cool. It costs like nothing. It is perfectly priced. But what I didn't realize is that I knew it was cooperative, but I thought there would be matchmaking and that I could just go on and search for people. No. You can only play with people on your friends list.
I did not realize it was cooperative online. And when I realized that, and I realized you couldn't matchmake, and I played 5 minutes of it and hated every single thing about how it feels to play, I refunded it.
This is very much
also, I physically
a streaming
hate
game.
the art direction.
Yeah. It's not very endearing.
Apparently it is because it's a darling right now, but it is not a thing I have any interest in.
I think everyone loves it because of actually playing it.
Probably.
I agree with you. I don't like the art or the look of the game at all. I mean, it really does, and it was an indie game jam game. Mm-hmm. Like they did a game jam. They came up with this idea, and now they've made like $1 billion. I mean,
I'm into indie stuff, but like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So I never got to play this with other people. I played it by myself, and you can play it by yourself. I do not recommend it. So what I'm going to say right off the top here is that this is not a review. I did not play this game the way that I need to play it to review the game. So I'm going to try to generally keep my opinion out of this a great deal because I don't feel like my opinion's all that qualified. What I'm here to do is to fill you in on this game so you understand what it is and why it is this huge, gigantic thing. And it is
Also
huge
curious
and
where they found a DC 10 in this day and age.
Well, I think the idea is that you wrecked, right?
Right. But that is a very old plane
Yeah.
that could not make a transocean crossing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So this is a first-person climbing game, and it is one of those streamer games where if you make one slight mistake, you fall, and you fall to the bottom of the mountain. You have to climb your way all the way back up. But what makes this different from other games of its ilk is that you work with other players, and they give you the tools to do that. So you start climbing up the mountain. Everybody, eventually you find ropes, you find carabiners and clips and things like that, and you have to help each other get to the top of the mountain. And I'll just say this. I started, after I played it myself and played it in single player mode for not very long before I realized that playing it by yourself is pretty pointless and not all that fun, I started looking at videos of other people playing it. And it turns it into a completely different game when you're playing with other people. First of all, it won't let you start the game unless you have a headset connected. Like when you boot it up, it says connect your headset, and it will not let you go past that screen until you've connected your headset.
No, I did.
Really?
Yeah.
I couldn't get it to go past it.
No, I just went past it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's strange.
I said no.
I could not get it to work without plugging my stuff in. Anyway, they try to encourage you.
I couldn't get past it with a controller. I had to use the mouse.
Oh, I was using the controller. Maybe that's why.
I also couldn't change the invert Y without using the mouse.
Oh.
Which seems counterintuitive.
Yes.
But
This game, I mean, you can tell that they were caught off guard. Like, this game is not polished. There's all kinds of little goofy, weird things about it. Because, like, they put it out, I don't think they ever expected this to happen.
No, I imagine you don't expect that to happen with a game you made in 4 months.
Right. And so if you go and watch videos online, this game comes alive with other people. So the headset, like I said, they try to impart on you, this is important, you need it, and you do. Because without the headset, this is an entirely different game. Because the way that they've handled the audio in this is freaking genius. So if you're standing next to somebody and they fall off the thing that you're standing on and they fall down to the ground, they scream. And you can hear them going, ah! And it literally echoes and goes down. Like, the surround sound in this is absolutely incredible. Not only that, where they go, if they go by a cave, it echoes differently. If they fall down a ravine where there's nothing around for their screams to bounce off of, it sounds differently. If they're, like, 200 yards away, you can barely hear them. You have to, like, be quiet and listen for them. Like, the audio in this is incredible. I was taken aback by it. When I started watching the videos of other people playing, like, people would scream as they're falling, and it was like they're freaking falling, man. Like, you're standing there and your friend just fell off a freaking cliff. It really is that realistic. But what it comes down to eventually is that you can also grief each other. So right now I have this blowgun. If you shoot another player with that blowgun, it knocks them out unconscious. And so if somebody's like way up high on a perch and you shoot them with the blowgun, they pass out and fall asleep and slide off of the butte and just fall down. And so this is very much one of those streamer games where you're watching the stream to see the streamer in pain, basically. You want to see them lament falling all the way down from the top of the mountain. You want to hear them when they fall from the top of the mountain. And to be fair, one thing I would say too is that a lot of the streamers ham it up. Like, they play roles and they act like they're actually the character, and when they fall, they act like they're terrified that they're actually going to die. And I'll be honest with you, it adds a lot of character to the game, and it made it interesting to just watch, which I don't do a lot of. Watching other people play video games does not really resonate with me. Watching people play Peak did. It also helps you understand sort of the goal of the game and how you can help each other. Eventually it gets to like almost these like side-scrolling sections of the game where you're traversing these prickly vines and you can't touch the pricks, and so you're like working with each other. Probably shouldn't have said it that way, but you're working with each other to try to help each other not get damaged or whatever. And then there's like moments in the game where there's this one little patch that you can stand on. There's only room enough for 2 people. The third person shows up and one person gets shoved off and they fall to their doom. It's just this, I wouldn't call it dynamic, because the levels are static. Like, every time you play, like, this first level was always the same. I would die, get frustrated, come back, it was the same level. Which is good, because you do kind of learn, like, where you can put the carabiners, where you can get handholds, where you can actually walk or not. Like, the mechanics in this, you can just kind of climb, and then you squeeze both trigger buttons, and it helps you like really latch on. But that meter on the bottom left there is your stamina meter. And so when that runs out, you get one last chance to lunge. So if you've climbed all the way to the top of this butte and you're almost at the top and you run out of your stamina, you can click the left stick and you'll lunge, and usually you'll make it to the top. And that's pretty much the majority of the mechanics in the game. It really is just like, how good are you at manipulating the physics, figuring out where you can get a handhold or a foothold, figuring out like how fast and how far you can climb on one stamina charge, understanding how far you can go before you fall back down, before you know, if you're going to make it to the top, before you can click that lunge to get just that little burst that you need to get over the top. The mechanics are pretty simple. It's really the interaction with you and the mountain and you and the other players that kind of set it apart. So this game has become a sensation. It's literally like one of the biggest games going right now. Another thing I would add too is that when you fall, you take damage. And so that meter on the left, the green part, which is your stamina, it gets smaller. And that's what made me eventually quit. It got to the point where my stamina bar was like 2 inches long, and I could barely climb up a little boulder before I ran out of stamina, so I just started all over or whatever. But that's sort of the punishment that you get for falling or hurting yourself, is that you lose part of your stamina bar. And you can get food and all this other stuff to eat. And there's all this little meta stuff about it, like that little like stuffed animal that you saw me grab out of the plane at the beginning. Like, there's stuff that you do with that where you throw it in the fire and like magical stuff happens. Like, once you get to the top and get to certain plateaus, there's like campfires there, and that's like your save point. Like, you light up the campfire, and that means you don't have to start from the bottom again. You can start from that point if you fall or whatever. So it's called Peak, pretty well named, I think, overall. But there is a lot of trial and error, especially if you play by yourself. I would not recommend playing this game by yourself at all. You need other people. And in honesty, I don't want to criticize too much because I haven't played that much, but I think a criticism everybody can level on it is that it's a multiplayer game with no matchmaking. So if you don't have friends that have the game on your friends list on Steam, you're going to have to play it by yourself, and this is what you're going to get. It's just not that great. So because I knew my footage wasn't going to show that much of the game, I made sure to bring in a trailer so you could see what the game looks like when you're actually playing with other people, and you've kind of gotten further into the game, and you can get a bunch of unlocks. You can customize your character. Like, I found that later, so it's not in the B-roll, but like when you're in the airport, there's a little interface you can bring up. You can choose like its skin color, the hat that he wears, and clothes and stuff like that. But you can see there's all these little things you can do, like knocking down a coconut. Now you can eat the coconut. It'll repair some of the stamina. All this stuff is about talking with each other, working with each other to help each other, so you all make it to the top as a team, basically. But at the same time, you can grief, and you can do stuff to, if someone pisses you off, you can shoot them with the blowgun and knock them unconscious, and they fall all the way back down. So I'll be honest, Matt, I've never played a game like this. Can you think of anything similar?
I mean, it's kind of like the direct version of Death Stranding's co-op.
A little bit. It really is. It has kind of the same concepts and vibe, I guess, is the best way to put it. And there eventually you get to different worlds. Like, I was in the jungle world. Eventually you get to this world, which is like everything's on fire, and you have to deal with fires, and it affects like where you can go and where you can't go. But yeah, like, to my point, you couldn't really come up with another game that was very similar, right? It's very hard. And I think that's why this has resonated with people, is that there's just really nothing else like it, and it's cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's sort of like, what's that one where you're climbing up on top of each other?
Cairn? No.
It's like more abstract. It's like a lot of naked dudes.
Oh, Getting Over It, where you're in the pot?
No, it's multiplayer. It's a bunch of dudes. They're like bodybuilders, and they kind of stick to each other as you get higher and higher.
I feel like I have that image in my mind, but I can't remember what the game is. Chat, can you help us out on that one? Gang Beast? Is that
Beast it? Sounds maybe right? Yeah.
It sounds like the name that it would be. Yeah. Nightwing 3060 says, seems like a game I would watch instead of playing. It is fun to watch people play.
Mount Your Friends, that's what it is.
Mount Your Friends?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Retro Modern Gamer. That's awesome. So anyway, I didn't get to play this with other people, and I don't think I ever will. I probably can refund this, though, right? Because I played it for like an hour and a half.
You played it for less than 2 hours.
Yeah, I could probably refund it. And you can, too, if you play it and you can't. But here's the thing. Don't buy it if you don't have people to play with. Like, I started searching online. The developers have no interest in putting in random matchmaking. As of right now, they're like, we have too many other things to work on, because this caught them off guard. Like, there's still bugs in this game, like crazy bugs. Like, the graphics have issues where stuff disappears and disappears. Like, you can just tell that they did not think that this game was going to be a huge hit. And they're just like, let's put it out there and see what happens. And wow, it just exploded. So, anyway, it's Peak. It's only available for PC. It's only $7. So, if you have people to play with, I think it could be fun. At the very least, I would recommend going and watching a couple Let's Plays, some of the more polished ones. It is a little corny that they play a role in some of those things, but I'll just be honest with you, this game is right for that kind of stuff. Like, being a character and then playing that role throughout your expedition with your friends, it's fun and funny. So anyway, there you go. That is Peak. My guess is going to be announced for consoles within the next 4 months. They'd be idiotic not to.
Well, unless they don't want to. I mean, if you don't want to add multiplayer matchmaking to this, I don't see how you put this out on anything.
Well, they just said prioritizing it. Like, that's low on their list of priorities. Because, again, it's busted in a lot of ways. They need to fix, like, the stuff that's actually broken before they start adding features. So my guess would be, for the console launch, that would be one of the features for the console launch. But we'll see. Again, it's only $7. Very low risk. Give it a try. If you don't like it, you'll probably figure it out within 2 hours, and you can just get your refund back from Steam. No harm, no foul. So there you go. That is Peak. And then our final game that we're going to talk about today is one of the funniest games I have ever played. It is a game called Baby Steps, and it tries to be funny, but the intentional humor is not what's funny. It's playing the game that is funny. There is a demo of this up on Steam right now. It is literally a walking simulator where you control your legs with the triggers on the controller. So the right trigger is your right leg, the left trigger is your left leg, and then you hold the stick in the direction that you want to go. And that's pretty much all there is to the game. The setup is you're a 30-something living at home, doing bong hits in your parents' basement. You're sitting down watching TV, they're complaining about you upstairs, and suddenly you just get zapped into the television. And that's the only setup for the game. You wake up, you're in the water. This is it. That's the whole opening cinema. You just watched it. It lasts like 6 seconds. And then your only objective is to just walk. And there you go. The controls in this game are insane. I played it for like 2 hours. I never felt comfortable with just walking in this game. It's just funny to watch. Because it's like, again, so each trigger is your leg. So when you squeeze the right trigger, you start putting your right leg out. But you have to make sure that you're moving forward at the right speed so that you don't understep or overstep your leg. It's crazy. This is also going to be a crazy streaming game where you people just watch you fail, basically. Because it's almost impossible to just walk. And then once you get to the point where you're like, okay, I can kind of walk in a straight line, then they're like, well, here's this board that you need to walk across. Or here's this big boulder that you need to step up on. And it just completely throws everything out the window. All of a sudden you're like, oh, well, everything I've been doing to walk so far doesn't work anymore. And along the way, you come across this dude who's just there. And it's like he doesn't want to break the fourth wall. So it's like he knows you've been zapped into a TV, but he doesn't want to play it up. It's almost like he's afraid that it's going to terrify you if he tells you, yeah, what just happened to you actually really happened. So he just kind of pops up here and there and like says some things. He tries to get you to do stuff. Your character is just like this total slacker guy who kind of speaks in like broken sentences or whatever. And he thinks that his parents have sent him to another fat camp where he needs to go to learn how to eat like the right amount of foods, because his parents are fed up with him and they've been sending him to these camps to try to get him on track. And so he thinks this is another thing that his parents have sent him to try to get him out of their basement, basically. But this guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about, man, but like I can help you if you want. And he's like, I don't want your help. So he goes away. And then you walk another like 300 yards or whatever, he shows up again. It's like, hey, here's this new challenge. And the writing's not great for that guy. The voice acting's a little weird. I mean, this game also is very rough. Graphically, the audio, the voice acting, everything about it, it feels like it's not quite finished. I think this is coming in September, so they have a lot of time to work on it. They've already priced it at like $40. I don't know how many people are going to want to play something like this for $40.
$40 is a lot for this.
It does seem like a lot. I agree. But I'll say this, like, you're watching me right now, it's like terrible. But if I jump forward in this B-roll, in another minute, I'm starting to figure it out, and I'm walking with these really fast steps. It just gets hilarious. Because the other thing about it is that the physics. So eventually you start walking, like, uphill. So there it is. It's so hilarious. Eventually you start walking uphill, and that changes everything. You have to shift the guy's weight differently. You have to hold forward a little bit more to make sure that he keeps going forward. It is just hilarious trying to figure out... I can't believe you're not laughing at this, Matt. Don't you think it's funny?
Not really.
Really?
It just looks stupid.
I think maybe you have to put it in your hands and try to figure it out yourself while you're playing it.
I don't know if it's like this would be funny if a person was doing it.
Yeah.
But it's a digital character. There's no.
It still makes
like it's
me
funny
laugh.
when Buster Keaton does it. It's not particularly funny when a cartoon does it.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I laughed the whole time I was playing this game. Like, and again, it wasn't at the writing or the stuff that they were trying to make funny. It was just playing it. And I think you're probably right. I think you do have to have like the controller in your hands to have the physical feedback of what you're trying to do with the visual feedback of what's actually happening on the screen. But eventually you get to the point where you kind of understand that like on flat ground, there's a cadence, like an exact timing that you need. And what I found was like, if you watch his leg, as soon as the one foot touches the ground, that means it's time to step with the other foot. And so that worked okay on flat ground once I figured it out, but then you start going uphill or you start going downhill and like that timing doesn't work anymore and you have to like relearn it all over again. Or they just put a log in the pathway and you have to figure out how to get over the log without like falling. Some of the tougher stuff, I would just kind of, once I started to learn how to move, I just start to learn how to move really
now
fast.
You just learned a river dance and that seems to have solved it.
This game, I mean, again, this is a one-of-a-kind game. There's been no game like this before.
I mean, there's something to be said about the idea of, even not obviously co-op and getting over. All of these games have done, you know, the idea that like walking is actually an incredibly complex.
It really is.
Like mechanical process
that the brain
that
can
we
do,
just
yeah.
sort of like do and don't think about how weird it is until you hurt your foot,
right,
or your back, and
yeah.
then you're like,
and then you realize, yeah,
you don't realize how many things are working together to make this happen.
Yeah. And they're like, so here you're like, oh my God, how do I get up something? Like, it's like the simplest thing that doesn't seem like it matters in this game is everything. I got to this plate, I'm like, what? I'm like, I can't even walk. How the hell am I supposed to like go up a wall? But I eventually like figured it out. Like, there is something about the controls and the walking physics where it does eventually start to click.
Does it actually explain why he's like that? It's just
Why he forgot how to walk? No, they don't explain it. Like, the guy that's there, he doesn't really explain it either. He's just like, yeah, you're in this world now, and I can help you here and there if you want, but you are like, oh, I don't really want any help. I've got it covered. And I didn't play it far enough to see eventually if you actually take him up on his offer. But there you go. I figured it out. Like,
well, you have to have the refusal of the call to adventure before you can accept the mentor. So that's how it works.
And I remember when I got to this point and they showed that flame up on the top of the mountain, I was like, I'll never get up there. And I do. Like, I eventually make it all the way up there, because you do start to get better at it eventually. I'll just skip forward into the B-roll here a little bit. But you're still going to fall all the time, because if you step wrong on a stone the wrong way, you fall.
Yeah, but like, you know there's already somebody that's done this in 20 seconds.
Right. Or 10. Like, ran up the hill or whatever. I'm sure there are people. Look at that. I stalled. Like, again, maybe this is funny if you play it. It's not as funny to watch someone play it, because you have these moments, like that moment there where I had straddled. I'm like hitting the other leg and the other leg won't go, and I'm just stuck in that pose, and I'm like, what do I want to do? I don't want to fall. It's what your brain goes through while you're playing this is comical, and maybe that's half of what makes it funny. I don't know. But I literally laughed the whole time I was playing this. And as you see, I'm reliving it again, watching the footage, and it's making me laugh again. It's just so goofy. You can just see I'm trying to figure out the timing, and I just can't quite get it. And then once I get to the top of the hill, I finally like start figuring it out. But just the animations of him walking are hilarious. It just rips me up. So anyway, that's baby steps. Right now, it's only coming to PC and PlayStation 5. So it's a PS5 console exclusive right now. I guarantee you, though, this game is going to be huge with streaming.
Yeah. $40 is
that's way too much.
Crazy.
Like, it should be like $10
for a novelty like this.
It also seems like it's a pretty big game. So I eventually get to the top, And I'm like, oh my god, is this like the end of the game? And then like, no, you look up and there's a gigantic mountain still to climb. I don't know if this just goes on into infinity, but I looked up there and I was like, I think this B-roll is hilarious. But I looked up there and I was like, nope, I'm good. I'm going to stop right here. I got enough to show people on GameFace. Retro Modern Gamer says they should be $15. Erebus Jones says there's a mobile game just like this called Steppy Pants, and it's free. Interesting. I don't know if it would be better to play something like this on a touchscreen or better on a controller, honestly. Because you do have like the stick or the shoulder buttons on the PlayStation 5 that have like carry on them. So you can, like, if you're subtle with them, you can make shorter steps, longer steps, or whatever. A lot of it is how hard you're pushing forward on the analog stick, because that creates like the lean. So you need to lean out over your feet a little bit while you're walking. If you're going up a hill, you need to lean over them even more. If you're going down a hill, you need to lean back. And all that ties into walking in this game. It's fucking hilarious. I'll skip forward again a little bit here. Because eventually I do get to the point where I can almost run. Like I start moving like a lot faster. But it took me like almost all the way to the top of this hill. You can see I'm close to the flame though. There it is up there. But anyway, I think people, if you watch this B-roll, you're going to know whether this is a game that you're going to like to play or not. It doesn't take that hard or that long. Like, I wasn't a fan of Getting Over It or any of those other try games the streamers are fans of. I definitely enjoyed this one a lot more than all the other ones that I've played. If only for the comedic element, the comedic factor of it all. Do you think you'll play this?
Not for $40.
Yeah.
Like, I would pay 20 to try it. Mm-hmm. But like,
I think even 20 might be a little much.
Yeah.
Depending on how long
I
it
get
is.
There's like production value on this that isn't in kind of these, goofball streamer bait, like, intentionally bad game kind of things normally, but like, nah, it just seems way too much for this. It's not that interesting to me.
Oh,
especially because like that's not how gravity works.
Right.
Like this, it's just like it just looks stupid to me.
Yeah, I mean it is stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid funny. I tend to like that kind of humor, stupid humor. I always have, for whatever reason. And this game is stupid humor. That is definitely for sure. And then I get up here by the flame, and I'm like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to go. They showed it to me in the cinematic, and then you can't get up there. And you just have to keep going. Like, this isn't actually where you're supposed to go. Like, the path actually goes over to the left. Oh, man. I think this game is funny AF. But anyway, eventually I get over this section. It takes a good 5 minutes to figure out. And then you can see there's the rest of the mountain that still needs to be climbed. And I was like, okay, I think I'm good. I'm just going to pause right there. So anyway, that is called Baby Steps. It is coming to PC and PlayStation 5. It is $40 right now. They could lower their price eventually. I mean, they just put this demo out. Maybe with some feedback, they'll adjust the price. Again, it doesn't come out till September 8th. So they have time, one, to make it better and fix it, and also to maybe think about the price a little more seriously. So we'll see. But I agree with you. $40 for what I played, way too much. And I think they may learn that themselves. You'd think they do surveys and be like, willing to pay $40 for this? I can't imagine too many people would.
It's just surprising. Devolver usually has a little more realistic
You're right.
point of view on these things.
No, I agree. Yeah, they're usually much better with the pricing on their games, for sure. But not in this case. And that is a Devolver game. How'd you pick up on that?
It said Devolver
at
the beginning of the footage.
Ah, all right. Oh, that's right. A Devolver game. It showed up there. So anyway, there you go. That's Baby Steps again. Only coming to PC and PlayStation 5. And with that, it's time to get into our Lightning Round News Roundup, where we go through a handful of the biggest stories from the week that weren't quite big enough to get their own topic in GameFace. And it was, again, I mean, we're in the doldrums of summer right now. If it weren't for Summer Game Fest and all the little directs that are going on right now, there wouldn't be a whole lot going on at all. In fact, this is just kind of the dead zone for everything. Sports right now is dead. The only thing that's happening is baseball.
Not movies.
Oh, movies are, you're right. It's a
Summer movies.
I saw that Megan 2.0 flopped.
Yep. Hard.
It's really hard to have a hit movie anymore.
It's very hard to know what's gonna do what. It's no one expected Inside Out 2 to be the biggest thing of Pixar's history, animated film history, and then Pixar's new movie is their worst performing film of all time. And then Megan doesn't. We don't know what Megan's doing. Very curious how Jurassic World turns out. Because I'm not going to see that. I mean,
you're not?
No. I mean, I even though I do like Scarlett Johansson. and I generally support Mahershala Ali because I knew him in college. But I've seen 6 of these movies, and it's probably better than the last 2. I didn't think the last 2 were very good.
They were not
at all.
great. Yeah.
But I don't know how many more times. I think it's very funny how the plot of the new one is basically a video game.
Yeah.
Like basically they think there might be a cure for cancer in the blood of the dinosaurs, so they have to get blood samples from the largest land, sea, and air dwelling ones. And I'm like, that's just a Zelda game. Like that's
Or just a video game where you go to all the different
And I bet you
environments.
have to climb up them and stab the syringe into them instead of using some kind of high-tech like thing where you shoot them with a syringe and it sucks the blood out and falls off and you find it with a GPS tracker later.
Yeah.
You have to probably jump on the pteranodon and just stab him with something the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've had enough.
Been there, done
also,
that.
I saw there was a clip. I know everyone's making fun of the raft clip. I saw a clip with the Titanosaurus or whatever they are, the big sauropods, and they're in this big, tall grass field looking for them, and they're like, we don't know where they are. We gotta find them. And then suddenly, and then the guy who's just there to be an Altoids product placement character makes a noise snapping into an Altoid, and 2 of them, these are some of the longest animals that have ever lived. They just get up in front of them, and they didn't see them there before they were. It's like just like magically they were off to the left, and like anything's possible off camera. I guess it's just stupid.
Magic movie moment, Matt. Sometimes you got to make sacrifices.
No, we did that already in Jurassic Park 1, and we don't need to. We don't need to keep trying to do it over and over again. Spielberg has done the amazed stare before the cutaway better than anyone else will ever do it. And stop.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the lightning round.
But Superman, gonna be good.
I hope so. Are there any reviews for that yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Not even a buzz or anything?
Buzz pretty good. It's the highest rated pre-sales of the year.
Okay.
So doing all right. And
That's
then we got
good.
Fantastic Four a couple weeks after that.
Hopefully the movie holds up.
Yeah, I mean, it's James Gunn. James Gunn doesn't disappoint.
Yeah, usually. All right.
I don't remember the last James Gunn movie
It
I
was
didn't
bad.
like.
Yeah. All right, our first topic in the lightning round. This week, Matt, 2 former Xbox employees said that Microsoft and Xbox either is or should leave the hardware market. One of those...
Those are 2 very different words.
They are 2 very different words. One of the employees was one of the OG employees at Microsoft Game Studios back like when they started making games, and she was there for 15 years or something like that. And the other one was Mike Ybarra, who was the ex-head of Blizzard. And both of them basically said either Microsoft is getting out of the hardware market or it should. Do you agree?
Maybe. I mean, I don't see a need to have an Xbox anymore.
I'm really struggling to figure out why I would own one.
If I have a functioning gaming PC, I don't know what the Xbox is supposed to be doing.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like the next Xbox is going to be a gaming PC.
Yeah.
And then you don't have that problem anymore.
Well, I do, because it's not going to be powerful enough
Right.
to be a gaming PC.
Yeah.
For me. I mean,
yeah, I use that term loosely.
Yeah.
It's going to be a cheap gaming PC.
But effectively, it sounds like it's going to end up being some kind of Windows box. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Ybarra said that he feels like that Microsoft is worried too much about being a jack of all trades. And it's spreading itself too thin, going in a bunch of different directions. It needs to pick its lane and stick with it. And I think that's good advice for any business.
Probably. I mean, you could also argue that one of the things you could do to solve that problem is just become a really good software company, which is
also
what Microsoft is.
That is what's happening. Yeah. I mean, game-wise now, too. Not just
Yeah.
software in general, but you're right. They make their money on software.
They always have. I could definitely see, in the same way they've done with the Rogue and the Meta, I could definitely see like the next quote-unquote Xbox is just some partnership they make with some boutique
they already
gaming
partnered
people.
with AMD.
Yeah.
I mean,
But now partner with Alienware.
I mean,
or
it
some
could
equivalent.
be the AMD Xbox Series Y or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, I mean, that seems to be where they're headed. So, look,
Why indeed?
it was the female employee who said they're getting out of it. She put up like a 12-minute video on YouTube about it. And she's like, I'm talking to people that I used to work with, and I'm hearing things, and they have no interest in doing hardware anymore.
Well, you're never going to catch Sony.
Right. It's like, what's the point? So I think it's right. I think this is the right strategy for Microsoft to work with these third parties. Let them take the risk. Let them set up the production lines. If they're okay saying, hey, if we sign a deal with Xbox, we're cool setting up production lines for this stuff because we have your badge on it, let them do it.
Yeah, we already have production lines.
Yeah, let them do it. And I think that's a smart move for Microsoft. So I think that's probably what's happening.
And it seems to have worked pretty well with that Meta thing. So.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second, actually. Next
I
up.
didn't expect that.
Yep, nobody did. So Digital Foundry finally put the Switch 2 through its paces and delivered its review of the Switch 2 hardware, and its final analysis determined that the screen on the Switch 2 is 10 times slower than a typical PC monitor. Literally, Nintendo has installed crap screens on the Switch 2, which is crazy that they're capable of HDR, kinda, and 120 frames per second, kinda. But otherwise, the visual quality and the response is that of a really cheap PC monitor. Why do you think Nintendo did that?
So it wouldn't have been $700, probably?
Yeah, or do you think maybe this is like an intentional thing where Nintendo is like, well, look, we're going to put out the OLED model eventually, so we need to make sure that you can see a clear step up. Because what's happening in display tech right now is that LCDs are kind of catching up with OLEDs. They'll never catch the OLED, but they're getting better. And they're way cheaper than OLED. And I think that's what Nintendo has done here. It's like, well, this tech is improving. It's pretty close to OLED, but really it's not. And so Nintendo's like, well, we could put out the OLED version in 2 years. Everyone will clearly be able to see the improvement. Because I would argue with the Switch 1, the jump to the OLED model was not as extreme as I thought it would be.
No.
Like, I bought the OLED model, and sadly I was dumb. I bought it after kind of the Switch was over as far as like first party software output. So I didn't use it all that much. But the screen wasn't that much better or that much bigger. And in hindsight, I kind of regretted spending $400 on that Switch OLED. So maybe Nintendo's trying to make the jump a little bigger. I don't know. But according to Digital Foundry, and I can't think of anyone I would trust more on stuff like this than Digital Foundry, the screen on the Switch 2 is crap. Mm-hmm. Are you surprised to hear that at all?
I mean, I guess not. I don't know a whole lot about current LCD stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it was mostly just to keep the cost down.
Yeah.
I mean, people lost their minds that it was $450 already.
Yeah.
You put a high-quality LCD screen, and they were paying $100 more minimum.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect me, because I'm never going to look at it.
Yeah.
It looks nice enough when you
Yeah,
just
I think
look at it.
that's the thing. Is like using it, I think it looks great.
Yeah.
But I guess if you put it through its paces and you actually dig into the tech, it's not.
Yeah,
So-
but I would argue that like they're going to test these games on that screen, and there's not going to be anything that requires you to be 10 times faster than what this Switch screen can display.
Yeah.
So,
I guess my other point is like, who cares?
like
Does Switch
I
owners
understand.
care?
I would imagine. Not. I mean, some people clearly do, but
Yeah.
like, I can't imagine you're going to run into a problem where like the screen isn't fast enough to keep up with whatever it is you're doing. Like,
yeah.
I haven't seen people complain that like F-Zero doesn't work right. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's not cutting edge. It's not amazing, but just like everything else in that fucking system, sure, it's 10 years out of date.
Yeah.
But so is everything else in that
Yeah.
system. Like
It's
it
par
is
for
what
the
it
course.
is.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
It all seems to play fine.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal at all. I think it's Digital Foundry's job to point that stuff out.
Yeah.
But when I hold it in my hands, I don't look at that screen and say the screen sucks.
And those, I mean, most of the screens they're comparing it to in terms of your average PC monitor cost more than the Switch 2, and they're just a monitor.
Just a monitor. Yeah, you're right.
They don't even play anything.
That's true.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's all that surprising, really.
Yeah. All right. Next up in the lightning round, another Xbox story. Jason Schreier at Bloomberg reported this week that more mass layoffs are coming to the Microsoft Xbox division. This would be, I think, the fourth layoff in 2 years at Xbox. And I think the last layoff, I was like, okay, I get it. You just had this huge M&A, merger and acquisition, and there's a lot of redundancies because you don't need 2 HR departments, you don't need 2 PR departments, you don't need 2 marketing departments. So I thought that first big layoff, I'm like, that's what they're doing. They're cutting out the redundancies. But now, Matt,
Now you don't need a hardware department, so
is that what's happening?
I don't know.
It feels a little bit like that might be what's happening.
I mean, Schreier said like 1,000 to 2,000 people. It's like it's some obscene
lot.
percentage of the total Xbox workforce.
Uh-huh. Which could be the hardware division. So we'll see, but it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wonder.
I mean, everything's got layoffs going right now, but this is a much more substantial layoff than your average right now. It's not like your normal, like, we're going to cut 2% of the workforce to get a cheap bump in the stock kind of thing.
Right.
This is like something's changing over there.
Drastically in the business is changing. But meanwhile, Xbox is going on camera talking about how they have this crazy powerful console coming. It could be a partnership still.
I mean, if you're just slapping the Xbox brand on a low-end custom PC, that is a very powerful console.
It is,
quote unquote.
And if you can still run your Windows 11 on it and have all the other stuff that you want to do with your next platform, it could totally work out. But I think this is a little concerning. I am starting to wonder, like, what is the total number of video game developers that have lost their jobs in the last 3 years?
Oh, I'd say it's in the 70,000 range.
You think it's that high?
Yeah.
I was thinking like maybe 30 or 40, but
no, I think it's much higher.
I mean, are those people ever going to be employed again? I don't think they are, Matt.
Not in that industry, probably.
I don't think they are. I think they have to find something else to do.
Most of them have. Almost everyone I know who's gotten laid off in the last few years has moved on to a different industry.
Even the programmers, because ChatGPT and these AI programs, they can program better than humans in a lot of cases.
Well,
they'll make a dumb mistake here and there. Yeah.
Having no human eyes on the programming is a bad idea.
It is a bad idea.
We're not going to see the results of that for years yet.
Yeah.
But it is a bad idea.
But my guess is they're going to let the AI do it and just hire a couple humans to double check the work. And that's it.
Not even double check the work.
Right.
Just confirm that it
Run
works,
the code and
more
make
or
sure it
less.
runs, and that's pretty much it.
The AI collapse is coming, but it's going to be a couple years before everybody sort of admits it to themselves.
Well, Apple's getting killed because it doesn't have AI right now. Like, its stock, all the stocks are doing great. Apple won't do anything because its AI program is not taking off. Like, literally right now, AI is driving all tech stocks.
Yeah, because that's the grift.
Yeah.
And the thing about grifts is they always end.
They do.
And the thing about Apple
is it knows the grift.
They're always right.
It is always right.
And it's fucking annoying that they're always right.
Because sometimes you don't think it.
But Apple knows that this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it's just algorithms. They are not coming up with any. You know what I saw?
See, Apple isn't happy with what it's coming up with because it can't think.
Because it's not thinking. It doesn't do what Apple is trying to make it do.
Yeah.
Apple wants it to be basically legit.
Right.
And it can't be legit because that's not what these things are.
And all the snake oil salesmen keep going forward, raking in the money.
There's no revenue stream. There is no future revenue stream for this, and they all know it. That's why every single thing on this is just, hey, invest in our super cutting edge, crypto, NFT, AI, etc., and we're gonna get that money, and then we're gonna run away with it, and then you're gonna be left with this thing that doesn't actually make you any money or make anything any better. And that's how the grifters didn't suddenly come up with legitimate technology.
No.
All the people that were backing NFTs are on AI now, and they didn't suddenly come up with an actual better mousetrap. It's just another grift, and it's gonna fucking the bottom's gonna drop out of it, and Apple's gonna be the only one standing because they didn't base all their technology on this bullshit.
Yeah.
It's never going to get any better.
A smart one again, but right now it's getting hammered over it.
Yeah, but you got to go through that shit until everybody comes to their
what it's
fucking
talking
senses.
about doing is just partnering with one of the existing AI companies. It's like, let them do it.
Let them do it so when the fucking time comes, you can separate from them and be like, hey, it's gone. We're done.
See?
It's just Apple now. We're out.
Yep.
Like don't watch those. Everyone makes fun of Apple, and they are years behind some of the most basic OS shit from compared to Android. Yeah. But Apple knows how the fucking tech works.
It feels like it can see the future sometimes better than others. Yeah. Okay.
All these companies are letting their doom in by the front door, and it's not gonna go well for anyone. And I love the weird shit. How I don't know if you've seen this on YouTube, but sometimes this little pop-up comes up in the middle of your feed, and it says, hey, you can ask YouTube to show you things however you want. It's their AI thing. It's part of the Gemini thing. And it's like, show me how to build a birdhouse. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with just putting build birdhouse in the fucking text? Why do you want me to write full sentences? Who wants to write full sentences out in these text parsers?
Well, it's like,
what is this for? What is the purpose
AI,
of that?
All Google's AI does is do the search and then look at the results and just go grab the copy out of the search results.
It's not any different. You just put birdhouse in the fucking text thing on YouTube and you'll get videos about how to build a fucking birdhouse. Yeah. Stop. Why do you want adjectives in there? What the fuck is wrong with these people? It's such obvious busy work. It's such obvious bullshit. I do not understand. I mean, that's just the world right now. I don't understand how everyone's falling for this absolute bullshit all the time.
They are, man. It is sad. It's just top to bottom. Idiots just falling for cons.
Just generations, and I include mine, the Gen X generation. We're just falling for this constant horseshit.
It is sad. I agree.
The dumbest motherfuckers who have ever walked the fucking planet.
Next up in the lightning round. Oh man, so I hinted earlier that we have some bad news for Canadians, and that is because the Nintendo Switch, not the Switch 2, and that is very important to say.
This is weird.
The Nintendo Switch is getting price increases in Canada. So Switch hardware, the first Switch, OLED, Switch Lite, all the accessories, all the games for Switch 1 are getting price increases because of Donald effing Trump's dumbass tariffs on Canada. So sorry, Canadians, you guys got to pay more money because we have a moron for president. Again, no Switch 2 though, which is very interesting because Nintendo.
I mean, you lean everything you can on the old system, so you don't have to jack the new one up any more than you have to because it's already pretty expensive.
Yeah, I mean, look, they want people to buy the Switch 2, so it's going to do everything it can to not increase the price so people buy the Switch 2.
It's just fascinating that this generation, all the price increases on various consoles.
PlayStation 5 price increase twice. Xbox price increase, Nintendo increases price in Canada, but a lot of this is because of frickin' Trump.
A lot of that is, but some of that happened without it too.
Yeah.
Like it's just remarkable. It's just such a change.
It's the opposite. They used to go down in price over time. Now they go up in price. It's insane.
Which is going to be an ongoing weird thing. I mean, I know that's also the secondary market stores are mostly gone. I mean, it's not like this is going to drive Funko Land out of business or anything. But there used to be a whole second wave of business with these systems where, like, suddenly the lower income brackets were able to afford used versions of these.
For $200 or $100.
Yeah, or even less. Like, we used to sell a PlayStation 2 for $99.99 at that old store in, like, 1999, 2000. And
well, I'll put it to you this way, Matt. My wife just sold my wife just sold my Switch 1 OLED on eBay. And the take-home that she got from it was $165. It sold for $199, and after eBay took all its fees, $165. That Switch OLED was brand new. I took that thing out of the box and put it on my entertainment center. It never left. It was brand new. It literally looked brand new.
It's weird the things that are valuable and aren't. But I just sold. It's a series called is it Figma? It's a series called action figures called Figma, and I got the Sekiro action figure from that series years ago. Yeah, and I never opened it. I just kind of got over it, and so I gave it to my friend who has a business selling on eBay. He sold it on eBay. You know how much that went for? It's like an $80-$90 figure. I mean, it's
$350,
$500.
Wow.
Because it came with a little extra face that you only got by pre-ordering through a specific Japanese hobby store. That one fucking little thing. But it's like you get more for that little figure than you got for
the whole thing.
2 Switches. Yeah, it's remarkable.
It's crazy.
Just remarkable. That was a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
That I just got for that thing.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Canada. I'm sorry that our country, we have a bunch of idiots who vote for other idiots that are ruining the world. We are literally ruining the world. And there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to sit here and just watch the world be ruined. I'm sorry. I voted against it.
The world will figure out ways to exist around it. And then
cutting us out of everything.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? The rest of the world will be stronger for it.
Oh, they will be. Anyway.
Like, we're handing the 21st century to China and a bunch of other countries willingly because
we're spending our money building concentration camps in the swamp in Florida instead. Anyway, next up in the lightning round, Halo news is on the way, people. Microsoft announced this week that at the Halo World Championship in October, we will be getting finally the first information about whatever is next for Halo. Matt, do you think it's going to be a new Halo game, or do you think it's going to be like the Master Chief Collection for PlayStation 5 and Switch 2, where Halo is finally on other platforms? Which do you think it's going to be?
If they're smart, it's the latter. Because just give up.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a new idea for Halo. Like, put the good ones that maybe people haven't quite played yet if they've been PlayStation or Nintendo devotees. You probably get more traction out of that than you will out of trying to get people excited about yet another attempt to salvage the Halo brand.
And it's like, does anyone really want to play the first Halo at this point? Like, I played it not that long ago. I was like, damn, this thing's like ancient and clunky, and I mean, of course, if they remake it or remaster it, that will increase the interest in it for sure.
I mean, it's already remade.
I mean, like, really remake it.
They did really remake that for the time.
Really? Yeah, but it's still just graphically. Like, they didn't really change like the game and like gunplay and all that kind of stuff. Like,
but you can't, because then it doesn't feel like Halo anymore.
But does it matter if you're trying to get it out to a new audience on PlayStation 5 and Switch or...
Yeah, it's Halo. It's either Halo or it's not. And like, if you're gonna make it Call of Duty with aliens, then you're not making Halo anymore. But I don't see the point anymore.
Yeah.
Halo's over.
It feels like it is over. And I never thought I'd ever be saying something
and maybe
like
I'm
that.
saying put Master Chief Collection on everything you can put it on, just to keep it, preserved and alive, and let everybody play it as much as they can, whether they have an Xbox or not. But I say bask in the glory days, and until you have a really good idea for what to do moving forward with this thing, I don't know what else to tell you. Like,
do you guys miss Halo? Would you guys miss Halo if it just disappeared, chat?
I don't know if I'd ever think about Halo if you didn't bring it up.
It feels like no one talks about it or really cares about it that much anymore. But people in chat might. Like, there are people that are dyed-in-the-wool Xbox fans that I think probably still resonate with Halo. What do you guys think? Is this something you're still interested in?
How can you resonate with something that hasn't been good in over 15 years?
Yeah. A lot of people still have nostalgia for it.
Sure, but I have nostalgia for a lot of things. Doesn't mean I think they should come back and do it again.
Notzirk says, I still love Halo. Eric Cartmenes says, I stopped playing after 3. Let's just go to chat here. Halo is like The Simpsons. It's long past time to let go. I would agree with that about The Simpsons, man. I watched a Simpsons episode a couple weeks ago and did not laugh once.
No, well, it's hard. It's hard for me because I haven't paid attention to The Simpsons in literally more than almost 2 decades. Except when someone says, hey, you got to watch this one episode, it's really good. Hearing what all those voice actors sound like now is horrifying to me.
Yeah.
Like, they're also, you can hear how old these people are, and they don't sound like themselves anymore. It's almost like ghoulish at this point.
Veritas says, Halo died with Bungie. I think that's a pretty common refrain. Stucky says, I'd like another Halo.
I think once you get past ODST and Reach, I feel like I just walk away. Like, no one needs to play 4 and onward.
Erebus says Halo is done. It needs to go away or given to somebody out of left field to try something entirely new. That might not be a bad idea, actually, is handing it to a different developer with fresh eyes. Slagathor says, I miss anticipating new Halo games before the franchise went downhill. Me too, brother. I miss it too. I miss, like, going to GameStop the night a new Halo comes out and everybody's just hyped out of their freaking minds and can't wait to go home and play it. Like, I miss it too, but the games just aren't good enough to support that type of thing anymore. They're just not. They're not worth getting that excited over.
It's Master Chief and Fortnite.
Yep. Hey, sir.
And there you go.
Then what's the point of anything else?
You're done.
Cinetype says, I tried Master Chief Collection on PC for the first time. Couldn't get into it. Felt old. It does feel old. That just happened to me a couple of months ago. JJ Forcebreaker, the PC player, I don't care about it. Outside of nostalgia for Arby and Chief Machina. Or Machinima. Yeah. Swan Senpai, I have great memories of 2 with a friend in school. Me too, brother. I have great memories of Halo 3. But that was the end. ODST was great. Halo 3 was great. Reach was pretty good.
Like Reach.
And after that...
For me, ODST is kind of the peak of everything.
I think a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people say that that's their favorite one. Retro Modern Gamer says, I agree with Veritas. Halo died with Bungie. Draylock says Halo XCOM / Gears. Fried X100 says Destiny is Halo.
No, that was Halo Wars was real time.
Yeah. Retro Modern Gamer says, I'd like to see what id would do with Halo. That's an interesting matchup for sure. And Drifter J says, I'd ask what you do get from Halo that you can't get somewhere else. I grew up with it. But, I mean, it is still unique. But I think the multiplayer is like how it feels and plays. But I just don't like it anymore. It hasn't evolved enough. Right. It's still the same. Yeah.
Well, and then like the selling points of it beyond that were like, the presentation, Marty's music, the epic space opera of it all. But everybody does all that shit now. Yeah. Everything Halo did that made it unique is pretty much done by other things now, and often better, and certainly better than the Halo games themselves do it now.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, I don't know if anyone's hitting the peak in kind of that presentational style and the way Halo 3 did at the time in comparison to everything else around it, but it's enough to make Halo feel redundant.
Yeah.
And certainly in terms of multiplayer, like, there's just no interest in that. Like if you make it play more like everything else, it's A, doesn't stand out, and B, doesn't feel like Halo anymore. If you make it play like Halo, it feels archaic. So what do you do with it?
Yep. Over on YouTube, Abner Torres says, I only ever played Halo 2 and 3. Well, you were smart. You got out at the right time. Let's get back to our final topic of the lightning round. And we do have a couple more, but I'm going to have to pick just one because we are running out of time. And this one we hinted at a little bit earlier. Probably the biggest shock of the freaking week is that the Xbox MetaQuest VR helmet sold out.
Yeah, I would not have predicted that.
It sold out. It's So Xbox...
Is there any indication how many units that is?
No. They have not said how many they manufactured. My guess is probably like 50,000 or something. I don't think they made that many. Because I'm sure, like us, they never dreamed it was going to sell that well. But it's sold out. You cannot find it anywhere. And why do you think people are buying it, Matt? Is it morbid curiosity or...
Maybe. I don't have an answer to that. I don't know.
I mean, it's basically like a big screen TV that you put on your face, but I
do think the Quest is the closest to what VR needs to be to break out into like a mainstream hit, because it basically is a thing you can just grab, put on, and go. Like, it doesn't have wires everywhere. You don't have to connect it to something else. It's just go, go, go.
Yeah.
And like the idea of kind of having your Xbox, some form of the Xbox library in that format. It's also the only real VR support anything Xbox gets, so maybe there's a bunch of people who were into that.
Because Microsoft will all the time, we don't care about VR. We're not doing VR.
Maybe they made way fewer of these than we think.
Maybe they only made 10,000.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they only made 10. I don't know. Like,
Buy Mind X says scalpers.
Maybe.
I think they're going to lose their ass,
Yeah, I don't think that was a good investment if that's what happened.
I think a lot of Switch 2 scalpers lost their ass, too.
Yeah, I mean, that's not selling. I mean, also they got more in the stores almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically at retail on eBay right now. And so you see these people on eBay that have literally a stack of like 500 consoles.
Yeah, more than 20 available. It's
I mean, basically what happened is they went to their local mom and pop store and said, don't sell those consoles to your customers. Give them to me. I'll sell them on eBay. We'll make way more than MSRP and we'll split the extra money. I'm sure that's what happened. And so you see these people that have a backyard that has like 200 Switch 2s, and they just lost their ass. They are begging to get their money back on those things now. But Nintendo was just too good with supply. Like, I can't believe what Nintendo has done. It's now sold 5 million Switch 2s already. It is the best-selling console of all time as far as the first month. PlayStation 4 or 5 had like 3.4 million, and Switch 2's done 5 in the first month. So it's the fastest-selling console of all time, fastest-selling Nintendo console of all time. But back to MetaQuest for Xbox, I have no clue why this is selling. Maybe it's scalpers, but they're really dumb. Because MetaQuest doesn't fly off the shelves on its own. Why would an Xbox MetaQuest fly off shelves? So I was shocked to see that these things sold out, but it's
that really just makes me
wonder how many they made. Seriously. All right, that's going to do it for the lightning round, which means there's just one thing left to do. That's right. It's time for Name That Game Tune, brought to you by the Wizards of Audio, Soundwizardry.com. If you're working on a game right now, you're working on an indie game, or maybe you're an executive working at a studio right now and you're not happy with how your audio team is working out, or you're not happy with the people that you've contracted to work with audio on your team, go to Soundwizardry.com, hire them. They work on multiple Game of the Year candidates all at the same time. They can juggle multiple projects and deliver excellent results, Game of the Year caliber results. Go to Soundwizardry.com. The best part about it is that they are just awesome people. Literally, Glenn, the owner of Soundwizardry, is one of the best people I have dealt with professionally in my entire career. And I've dealt with a ton of people. And sadly, most of them haven't been that great. So it's a low bar, but he's still the top. Go to soundwizardry.com for any audio you're working on, whether it's a game, a TV show, a podcast, whatever. They can handle it all, and they're great to work with. Go to soundwizardry.com. Now, quickly, let me explain how this works. Basically, I'm going to play 5 samples from a video game, and you try to guess the name of the game before Matt. Somebody finally beat Matt last week because I kept my mouth shut. I'm going to do it again today. A few things before we get going. If you have won this calendar year, do not play. You can only win once per calendar year, so if you've won any time in 2025, sit it out. If you don't play PC games, please don't play, because if you win, you get a free PC game. We want to make sure that goes to a good home. And then finally, the chat goes into slow mode, and this is where I do have to say that unfortunately, YouTube cannot play Name That Game Tune because you guys are actually ahead of time of everybody on Twitch. So we are going to keep Name That Game Tune solely to our Twitch audience. It is where we've built the game and where people have been playing all this time. So we want to kind of, I don't know, it feels right to keep it on Twitch is what I'm getting at. So anyway, unfortunately, YouTube crew, you guys are awesome and you guys have been great. Wait, did someone just give us a $10 from Z Vitamin CZ? Thank you. That's freaking awesome. It makes me want to work with you guys now on YouTube instead, but we can't because we have the graphics set up already, and we're going to work with Twitch. So anyway, thanks YouTube crew. You guys have been awesome. It's really good to get you guys into the show today, but for this, unfortunately, you have to sit it out and just watch. Okay, let's get to the interface, which is all brand new because we had to remake it so it would work. And let me turn up your headphones, Matt, so you can hear. And we're ready to rock and roll. All right, no hints. I'm not saying anything. I'm just going to play the clips. Are you ready to play, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys ready to play Name That Game tune? Here we go with the first sample. In 3, 2, 1. I'll play it once more. Bloodborne, no. Dying Light, no. Indiana Jones, no. Ninja Gaiden 2, no. Bloodborne, no. Waifu Sim from eShop, no. God of War 2018, no. Dante's Inferno, no. Dead Space, no. Mortal Kombat 1, nope. RE7, nope. Any other guesses before we go to the second one? Clockwork Knight. I don't even know what that is, Evil Only 5.
That is an old Saturn game.
Really? I'm not even familiar with it.
It was not that.
Okay, it was definitely not. Tomb Raider reboot, no. Shadow of Mordor, no. Any other guesses before we move on? Oh my gosh, Black Helmet Man just joined SIFTD All Access. Thank you, man. That's awesome. This is great. I'm so glad we finally got this set up and running. Elden Ring, no. From Toon Medic. Any last guesses? Going once. Going twice. Okay, here's the second one. In 3, 2, 1. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, no. No More Heroes, no.
The Witcher 3?
The Witcher 3, no. We have a winner. Ashes in the Hourglass. He got it. It is Ghost of Tsushima. That's awesome, man. Congrats. Good job. So, Ashes, you know the deal. You can reach out to me here on Twitch or on YouTube, or you can reach out to me on the site. You're on SIFTD all the time. You can send me a DM on Blue Sky. I'm at Shane Satterfield. Just send me a message, and I'll be sure to get you your free game. Congratulations for winning. And here are the last few samples. Actually, let me turn down your headphones first, Matt.
YouTube chat says, I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now. I'm an idiot.
That's funny. Here's the third one. Here's the fourth one. It's a long one. And here's the last one.
I'll get the horses ready.
Do it.
Congratulations, Ashes. Great job, man.
For the forest.
Yeah, I should probably have known that one, having put like 100 hours into that game.
Matt, I wasn't even going to make eye contact with you. I just looked down at the table the whole time. I'm like, I'm not even going to... Ashes in the Hourglass says, I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, and my pastor. You have a pastor? Okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for GameFace episode 440 right here on SIFTD Games at siftd.net. Before we go, though, we are supported pretty much 100% at patreon.com/SIFTD. That's spelled SIFTD. But you can also become a member on YouTube, as somebody just did during our live stream. You don't get quite as good a deal there because YouTube, the way it forces you to set things up, it's not as granular as we would like. So the best deal is definitely to go to our Patreon for $5 a month. You get all our content early. You get this show 3 days early now because we've changed the exclusivity period for this show. You get all our content 3 days early except for Pactor Factor. You get a week early. And then, of course, there's other ways to get around that. If you give us Twitch Prime, you can watch Pactor Factor day and date at our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/SIFTDGames. So there's so many ways to help us. We appreciate all of them. If you have no money, you can just like the show. You can share the show on social media. You can leave a comment on the show. That makes a difference. It helps it bubble up in search. If you're listening to the show on podcast services, review it. I see people on Spotify doing that. Thank you, guys. That makes a big difference. All that stuff matters. We also updated the look of the GameFace podcast feed. We have a new thumbnail for the podcast feed, so our podcast feed isn't just the GameFace logo anymore. It actually has Matt and I in the thumbnail. So we've been doing lots of little tweaks here and there that hopefully will help us out, and we'd appreciate anything that you can do for us. Even, again, just going on social media and saying, I love this podcast. All that stuff makes a big, big difference for us, and we'd appreciate it very much. Next week, I don't even know what the show's going to be like next week, Matt. It's kind of a dry spell right now.
Indie stuff we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah, I'm going to start digging into that.
The Dispatch demo.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the early access channel on SIFTD and see all the demos and betas and stuff that are up. That usually helps me get through
There's
really
also
lean weeks.
and I know Vincent keeps mentioning it, the new Lost in Random thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true. Yep. So
His
we'll
name,
figure it out.
Name I can't remember now, but Eternal Die? Is that
I think that's it. I think that is it.
Okay.
Yep. We'll figure it out. We always do. That's how we roll here on GameFace. Awesome show, guys. Thanks to chat from both YouTube and Twitch. You guys were freaking great. Everything went about as good as I think it possibly could have for the first time we've done this. I will try to spend more ample time with the YouTube crew as well as we go forward. We're learning too. We're figuring it out as we go. We'll get better at it. I promise you that. Everybody have a great week filled with great games. GameFace is up and out.